Business schools do a pretty good job of providing students with theoretical frameworks, which can sometimes be applied to real-world problems. However, quite often they overlook the most crucial and practical business lessons, like how to network, how to find customers, or how to get a job. If you want to learn how to get a meeting with almost anyone, or take your career to the next level, then this course is for you. I've worked at Goldman Sachs. I've met with top business people, including Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and the founders of the biggest technology companies. And at the end of all my meetings with these visionaries, I've always asked them for advice on what made them so successful. And a lot of what they taught me is not taught in business school. So I put together a list of every lesson, and I've included it in this book and in this course. These lessons will help you take your career to the next level. It's exciting to reinvent yourself in ways that you never thought were possible, until you realize it is possible. Anything is possible, as many of my students that have taken this course have realized. I put all of my business knowledge and passion into this course, and I'm humbled to say that Business Insider wrote an article stating that my book, 101 Crucial Lessons They Don't Teach You in Business School, was voted as the #1 business book of the year. Also, Forbes magazine stated that this book is one of 6 books that every entrepreneur needs to read right now. So let me teach you about these crucial business lessons. Let's step out of business school and into the real world as we take your career to the next level. Good morning and welcome to our 103rd weekly webcast. If this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way the call works is this is an AMA, meaning you can ask me anything. You can ask me business questions, personal questions, career questions, etc. And what happens is within 24 hours of this call being completed, my team actually puts all the questions up in the description field for this YouTube video so that you can just click immediately to get an answer to one of the questions asked, so I can save you time so you can work smarter and not harder. And so the theme this week is Nintendo. And the reason is because in my MBA degree program this week, I'm doing a case study with my MBA degree students on Nintendo. And we're doing a deep dive into the company. And we have a much bigger case study we're going to be doing later on in the 4th semester of this year, which is, should Apple buy Nintendo or not? And so you can go to my YouTube channel and click on the main video there. And there's a funny video that makes me look like an idiot, but that's cool, of an interview with a McKinsey consultant, somebody that works at Apple maybe, somebody that started a company called Shark Virtual Reality, and a couple other people that talk about whether or not the deal makes sense from a strategy consulting perspective, as well as from an investment banking perspective as well. So check out that video if you want to. We had a lot of fun putting it together. Laugh at me, not with me when you watch it, please. Yeah. So, all right, without further ado, let's begin, and thank you. It is hot in here. All right. First question is from Ray. Ray, I hope you're doing well, dude. Would you recommend using a stock screener when you want to choose several stocks in a sector to analyze, and then decide if you want to invest in them in order to narrow the selection by some criteria? What do you recommend? Yeah. So I actually prefer to do bottoms-up research. And so what you're talking about is top-down, which means kind of viewing the forest from the trees, picking a region of the forest to potentially invest in, and then doing a bottoms-up analysis and picking one tree, meaning one stock. And I love to invest in companies that I understand, where I use the product, and ones where I've built out the financial model as well. So we're all a little bit different, but stock screen is something I used to do. Yeah. Now, if you do a stock screen, make sure that you filter the companies based not only on valuation, but also based on fundamentals. And so the screen might help you initially, because it's quantitative, to find companies that are cheap relative to their growth rate. But then what you need to do is really, really, really get into the weeds and look into the fundamental differences between those companies. And I would start by analyzing the management team first. And if you want more details on how to do this, I have a course that's more than 20 hours called the Complete Financial Analyst Training and Investing course, where I bring you into my company. It's a pretend company called MHS, which is Morgan Haroun Sachs. Please don't sue me, Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs, okay? This is just a joke. Although Morgan Haroun Sachs is much better than your companies combined. All right, sorry for that little side note disclosure there. But you join my company as an analyst, and you rotate through the different divisions within my firm. So check out that course. Or if you want much more detail than that, you can sign up for my MBA degree program. And you can start the silver version today if you want to. All you need to do is go directly to my website, which is right here, harouneducation.com, and click here to enroll. Or you can apply for the gold or platinum versions. And you can go to my website to read more details if you want, because we go into much more detail there in my MBA degree programs than in my individual courses. But my individual courses are a great place to start. Okay. Next up is, do you make models and value? Next question is, do you make models and valuations of real stocks in your MBA, and of how many? We do. We look at a number of different companies, but I never tell my students what the perfect target price is and whether or not to buy or sell a stock. I feel like my job is to teach my students humbly how to fish rather than give them the fish. And don't ever take anybody's advice, please, including mine, on any stocks to buy. Always do your own research, because what happens is when people are interviewed on television or in print on various websites about stocks, quite often they're very biased. Sometimes there's a sponsored story that's trying to bias you to buy a product or a certain stock, or it's a CEO that's obviously saying great things about their company, because a CEO they're great salespeople. That's how they got to become CEO. And the worst thing we can all do is to watch an interview with a CEO and then buy the stock. One of the last things you should do is interview the CEO if you can get access to the CEO, or analyze how they present. Just be careful, because they're great salespeople. I do believe that ideas are commodities and execution is not, and that we have to pay a lot of attention to looking for a great management team to invest in. But just be careful. If when you start doing your research, if the first thing you do is you watch an interview with the CEO, it's going to bias you, because again, they are great salespeople. Okay. And then next question is, what do you do in the last 1 hour before going to bed? Do you read or meditate? Yeah. So what I actually do is I put together, and I've got a couple different templates here. Let me show you the correct one. What I do is I actually put together my schedule for the next day. And it doesn't take that long, but I schedule everything I'm going to be doing the next day. And this is a more advanced version of my daily schedule, which I give to my MBA degree program students. So I schedule my next day, and I also score myself on the schedule from the previous day to see if I got everything accomplished. And so that way I know that I'm not going to waste time the next morning when I wake up, and I'll get a lot of stuff done. And when you write down your goals for each day, you write down a time when you're going to accomplish them. Kind of like when you come up with life-altering goals or New Year's resolutions. If you don't set a deadline date, they're a dream and nothing more, because 90% of people give up on their New Year's resolutions by the third week of January, because they don't write down a deadline date. So I schedule myself for the next day. That's what I do. Aside from that, I put my kids to bed. Well, the middle one, Dylan, where is he? I think I moved the picture. He's over here now. I put my middle one here to bed. That's Dylan. These two here are a bit older, kind of too cool for school to spend time with me. And then I say prayers with Dylan, my youngest child. Then I go to bed. And then what I do is I got into a bad car accident years ago. I'm fine, and I'm actually cool that it happened because it guided me down a different path in life, and I'm grateful, I guess, in a bizarre way. But because of that, my back is kind of messed up. I can still function, and I can still exercise, but the issue is I can't I can't lie down in a bed and read a book like this. What I have to do is I have to keep my neck straight as much as I can. And so I have this, my wife calls it my iPad IV, but I actually have this stand that holds my iPad. So what I do is I lie down, and then I might go through a couple of emails I can get through, check my LinkedIn's, etc. And then I'll watch about half an hour of television every night. And that just kind of makes me relaxed. And I make sure that on my iPad, I put it into a special mode so the light is not that bright. And there's a special lighting feature they have as well that's supposed to not make you feel alert. It's a little bit yellowish, which kind of helps. Then I go to bed. That's it. Yeah. And I schedule 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night without fail. Every night I get 7 to 8 hours because I can't function without 7 to 8 hours. Yeah. So, and what I also do actually, so what I did last night was I prepare 4 drinks as follows. And I have them ready so that when I get up, I can be productive right away. So this one here, it's a bit purple because there's acai in it. And I guess what I'll do is I can raise up this desk and show you guys a little bit better. There we go. Yeah. So what I do, I'll start on this side here. So this is my bulletproof coffee. And so I have my coffee machine automatically get it ready before I go to bed. So it's ready by 7:30 in the morning this morning. And there's butter in it as well, which is part of the bulletproof diet. It gives you amazing cognitive abilities so you can speak gooder. And I put a little bit of MCT oil in as well. And it's ready by the time I come into the kitchen. Then I have this as well. And what I do is I have this Ninja Bullet Blender. And I subscribe to this food service called Daily Harvest, which delivers food to my house. It's all organic. It's great. And then I put in one of the containers of one of their vegetable dishes in here, along with whey protein powder, acai, some fish oil. I put in flax seeds as well, and a couple other antioxidants. So those are those 2. Pardon me. In this one here, I put in some green powdered vegetable substitute. It's good for you. It's not as good as eating real vegetables, which are in this thing, but it's good enough. But it's like water. And this one here is just water. And I have it color coded as well, so I remember as well throughout the day. And I don't. One of my biggest problems, and I have many, is I don't drink. I don't drink enough water. And so I've tried everything. I have a special reminder on my iPhone and on my Apple Watch, which tells me when to drink water throughout the day. It's called Water Minder. I know it's out there, but I need reminders every now and then. But I find that if I don't drink enough water, I feel dehydrated. I lose my voice, and just life doesn't work well for me. So anyway, that's my routine. That's my routine. So in the morning, it's easy for me to just kind of grab this stuff, just throw it in the blender quickly, and then I'm good to go. And I'm double fisted. Here we go. All right. The next question is there a general website for career orientation before choosing university, which to tell you what professions might be a good fit for you? Yeah. So there's got a fly in here. There's a lot of tests you can take to see what kind of a personality you are. I don't believe in any of them. I actually believe in asking yourself a really simple question, which is this. If I was given a month off and I'm not allowed to go to school and I'm not allowed to work, what would I do with my time? And whatever that is, that's your passion, that's your purpose, that's your raison d'être. And don't listen to anybody else. Don't let anybody tell you what you can or can't be in your life. You've got one shot at this. So just find your passion, find your purpose, find your raison d'être. And Mark Twain had this wonderful quote. He said, the 2 most important days in your life are number 1, the day you're born. And number two, the day you find out why. What's your why? What gets you excited? Who's a rock star to you in business? Is it, I don't know, is it Mark Benioff? Then maybe you're passionate about the software sector. Is it Oprah? Maybe you're passionate about media. Is it Elon Musk? Maybe you're passionate about futuristic cars and space travel and solving all the environmental issues we have. You got to find out who your rock star is in business. Who's your Bono in business or your John Lennon in business. And then once you find out who they are, then be a voracious reader of their biographies or autobiographies if they exist. I subscribe to audible.com, and I'm never sponsored by any company ever. But I subscribe to audible.com, which is an Amazon website, of course. And I listen to a couple of books every month. And I listen to biographies and autobiographies, if available, of entrepreneurs that really inspire me. And what happens is when somebody becomes incredibly successful, they kind of let their cards down and they show their hand. And quite often they give back by explaining how they did it. What's their blueprint for success? And I've got 6 blueprints here, by the way, or 5 of them, I should say, because we're doing a Nintendo case study in my MBA degree program this week. But find out what their blueprint for success is. They've already invented the wheel. Why reinvent it? Use their blueprint for success. And we change over time as well. Like whatever you're passionate about now, you might not be passionate about when you're older. When I was a kid, I was passionate about video games, and hell yeah, I still am. No, but we do change as we get older, and your passions change. And sometimes you're in a career that you're really passionate about, that you absolutely love, and then you wake up one day and you're like, you fall out of love with it. I'm just not feeling it anymore. And when that happens, and it happens to most of us at some point in our lives, then it's time to reinvent yourself. It's time for you 2.0. It's time for you to network a lot using LinkedIn and find a career you're more passionate about. And I'll show you how to network. So I've got this book down, and this is I got a wider angle for, I'm doing a special set thing for my MBA students, but this week. But I have a book here. It's called Networking to Get a Job or Anything You Want in Life. And you can get this for free, this book, on my website, which is harouneducation.com. And so I believe that you can get anything you want in life by networking, especially changing careers. And if you're not sure what career makes sense for you yet, then read my free networking book and start getting informational meetings with people in different sectors. And just sit down with them and understand, is this a job or profession you'll be passionate about or not? And I remember when I was in my 20s, I didn't know what I wanted to do at one point. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll go to law school. So stupid. I don't know why. Like I can't stand lawyers. Unless you're a civil rights lawyer, then I love you. And if you represent me, then you're okay as well. But I wanted to go to law school because I read a book by Scott Turow called 1L. And I saw A Few Good Men at the time. You Can't Handle the Truth. Remember that movie with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson? And I read all the John Grisham books. And then I did informational meetings with lawyers. And they were nice, but I was bored to tears. And then I drove down to Harvard Law School and I sat in on a class like I'd ever get in. But I was even more bored. And then I thought to myself, are you an asshole before law school? Or do they teach you that in law school? And so I'm so sorry, there's no filter here, but it is what it is. And I found that it was the most boring profession ever. And I was insecure when I was younger because I guess I wanted to be a lawyer to impress other people. Now, if you were a lawyer and you're a civil rights lawyer, I love you. But if you don't like your job, it's okay because law school taught you a lot about contracts, which is something you need in entrepreneurship anyway. And if you want to change careers, then by all means, what you can do is just take a look here at my networking book, which is available free on my website. But you gotta find your passion. There it is, there in the bottom corner. You got to find your passion and purpose. What was the reason you were put on this earth? All right. Next up, we got Kunal. Kunal is saying, good morning, Chris. Good morning to you as well. Hope you're doing well. And then Kunal is saying, did you read the blog by James Altucher? where he said New York City is dead forever. He says this because many of those who he knew have left New York for good. What are your thoughts on this? Yeah, I disagree. I think New York's a great city. It's vibrant. It's exciting. It's a city that literally never sleeps. I lived there for quite a while. I went to university there at Columbia, and then I lived Upper West Side. And then we bought a place in the Upper East Side. I worked at Goldman, and then we had a kid. And my first son, Andrew, I'll show you a picture of him actually. He's over here. So he's the guy in the blue shirt here. Yeah. So we had Andrew in New York in 2004. And I loved New York City to death. I loved it. It was so fun. However, I didn't think it was the best place to raise a family. It's hard. And it doesn't matter how much money you have in New York City. Like if you can buy a brownstone or a penthouse, it's still not what I wanted to provide to my family, lifestyle-wise, because I wanted a backyard like I had growing up in Canada. And so this amazing hedge fund called Citadel recruited me, and they relocated my family and I to the West Coast here, so I could invest in tech stocks and all that stuff at a hedge fund. And I was happy. But I did miss New York City a lot. Yeah. I personally didn't want to raise my kids in a big city. It's just me. All right. Next up is Gerson, who's saying, God bless you, Chris. Thank you. God bless you way more. And then you wrote, thanks for being here and sharing your knowledge and experience. Thanks, Gerson. I appreciate it. And again, God bless you way more. Next question is Canal saying Tesla is worth $412 billion, which is more than Walmart's, but Tesla's revenue is $25 billion versus Walmart's revenue at $523 billion. What do you think about this? Yeah. So the reason why certain stocks might seem expensive is because growth investors are buying them because they believe that earnings are going to be much higher in the long run. Now, those two companies you mentioned are completely different from an investment philosophy perspective. So Walmart is a value investment and Tesla is a growth investment. And so value investors buy stocks that are cheap today, but not growing that fast. Growth investors buy stocks that are expensive today and growing very, very fast. And it's a different mentality. It gets very contentious between the groups. It's like politics or religion sometimes. And so growth investors want the companies to grow really, really fast and then make a lot of money in the future. Because when you buy a stock anyway, you're buying it because you think there's going to be great future earnings. Now, Tesla, if they wanted to, their valuation could be way higher if they fired all their R&D folks and a lot of salespeople. And some investors would say, hey, it's getting cheaper. This is a great investment. But the core investors, the growth investors, would be upset because they're investing in growth. And for many years, Amazon, a lot of people shorted Amazon, the hedge fund space. I was long it, but I knew a lot of people that were short it. And we always called that a widowmaker. It's a rookie mistake to short a company with great growth, with an amazing management team. And what people didn't realize was that Wall Street and investors globally were betting on an amazing CEO, Jeff Bezos, and his ability to generate future profits, right? And Amazon could be really, really cheap today if they fired all their R&D folks and salespeople and did not invest in the future. But if they did that, in hindsight, then they wouldn't have Amazon Web Services, which is the growth engine of Amazon. There'd be no such thing as Kindle, Alexa, etc. And so the mentality of growth investors is when they create financial models, growth investors that is, they forecast that companies will make certain companies will make a ton of money in profits in the future. And then they value the company by discounting all those future profit streams into today's terms. And value investors just don't do that. Value investors look for companies that are usually cheap on a price to book basis or a cash basis, and recession-proof companies as well. So there's just a difference in philosophy. Now, every growth stock eventually goes from growth to value. Walmart was a growth stock forever. It was a Wall Street darling. And then what happened is, similar to the U.S. economy, Walmart got too big And it's not their fault. They just can't grow that fast anymore because they're big. Just like the US economy, which is responsible for about 1/3 of the revenue on the planet, 1/3 of the world's GDP roughly. It's so big that the US economy will never grow more than a couple percent per year, in the long run. It's not their fault. They're just big. And so Walmart is not a growth investment anymore. It's a value investment. Now, you transition from growth to value over time. Every great growth stock becomes a value stock over time. And there might be one day where Tesla is like a Ford, GM, whatever, where it's really, really big and successful and not that expensive. And that will occur with Tesla when it stops growing. And so every stock that's a growth stock eventually becomes a value stock because of the law of large numbers. And never, ever, 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 please invest in a stock that you can't categorize as either growth or value. And the reason is because the two main types of investors on the planet are growth and value investors. And if it's stuck in the middle, then there's confusion as to which type of investor should buy that stock. And so when a growth stock transitions to value, I call this investment purgatory. And you've got to avoid that because there's market confusion. And it usually takes about a decade for a growth stock to transition to a value stock. And it trades sideways. It goes up and down with the market, depending on what its beta or measure of volatility is. And it's a loser investment usually. So what can make a growth stock go to value much faster is if a private equity firm gets involved, like Carl Icahn did. And what they can do is they can muscle their way onto the board by buying a lot of shares, and they can force the company to unlock shareholder value by either becoming a growth stock again or a value stock or a bit of both. For example, eBay. eBay, for years, investors were confused with eBay because the growth investors loved eBay's PayPal product because it was growing fast, and the value investors loved eBay's sleepy auction marketplace business, which wasn't growing fast, but is somewhat counter-cyclical because during recessions, people often sell more stuff, used stuff. So what happened was because of that market confusion and because eBay was kind of transitioning from growth to value, sort of, what happened was Carl Icahn, who's a private equity investor, he bought a big stake in eBay. And then when you buy a large percent of a company, you get a board seat because you've got the fiduciary duty and the fiscal responsibility to report to your investors how that investment's doing. So Carl Icahn got a board seat. And what he did was he forced the company to unlock shareholder value by breaking into two different entities. eBay, which the value investors loved, and PayPal, which the growth investors loved. And the value of these two companies as independent entities was greater than the combined market cap of the company. And so the bottom line is you have to understand if you're a growth investor or a value investor before you start investing. And you can change too. Like when I was younger and I was in school, I was a value investor because I kind of learned, hey man, buy low, sell high, and buy things that are cheap. And then eventually I worked at Goldman and the hedge fund industry, and I realized that you can make a lot of money as well by investing in growth stocks. And I'm a techie. I'm a nerd, and I have this shirt on here and these props because my MBA degree students, what we're doing in class is a case study on Nintendo. But you can change over time. But I think you really have to understand whether you're a growth investor or a value investor. Otherwise, if you're in the middle, it's tough for you to make money. Yeah. All right. Melody in the house. Melody, how are you? Melody is a wonderful teacher from Atlanta. And she put a couple courses up on Udemy, and they're great. I took them, and so should everybody here. Let's do a search for Melody Johnson on Udemy. And Melody wrote, "Good morning, Chris. Wow, number 103. Love that you're providing such value to others. Thank you for everything. I hope you and your family are staying safe at this time. Thank you. And likewise, thank you. Thank you." It's been surreal though, man. 103, we're getting better. I still make a lot of mistakes, but it's getting better. And I'm trying something a little bit different, trying to push the goalpost out, as I say in Canada. With this Nintendo stuff, which again is the subject of a case study I'm doing this week with my MBA degree students. Next up, we've got Shubham, who's saying, hey, Chris, hope you and your family are doing well. Likewise. What are your methods to avoid burnout? Yeah. So since the beginning of time, our forefathers and foremothers realized that you have to take one day off a week or you will burn out. And it's the basis, there's 10 rules that are the basis of laws in many countries, 10 commandments, which applies to many religions. And one of those rules is to take one day off a week. And I really believe that human nature has not changed since the beginning of time. We can all get burnt out if we don't take our breaks. And I was watching on National Geographic on television, which Disney has on Disney Plus now. I was watching a program where there was a cheetah that was chasing a gazelle. And what they did was they actually put sensors on the gazelle, scientists did. And they found that when the gazelle was being chased by the cheetah, the gazelle was, of course, running for their life, and their heart rate increased dramatically. And what happened was when the gazelle was running, their immune system shut down. And when the gazelle was running, they aged. And when the gazelle was running, their reproductive system shut down. And so let me parlay that into us. We weren't meant to feel fear like that or stress like that in our lives biologically, unless we were fighting for our lives, literally our lives. And so if you don't take one day off a week, you'll end up being like the gazelle. And it's fascinating because a lot of people that don't take breaks end up dying young. They also end up not being able to, it's a little bit hard to have a kid. And also they're just not happy. They're just not happy, So what happens is, like, I've had a lot of friends that have had problems or issues conceiving. And for those that never ended up conceiving, they adopted beautiful babies, which is a wonderful thing. But what's happened with my friends is they've wanted to have a child. They've tried, and it's very stressful. They try and try and try. And then they just say, you know what, maybe we'll just adopt. And then they adopt a beautiful baby, and then they get pregnant after that. And the reason is because they're not as stressed out. And so we have to take our breaks. Don't be the gazelle. Take your breaks. Otherwise, you'll age quickly. You won't be happy, and you'll die prematurely as well. So I really do think that you do have to take one day off a week, and you can do it. You can do it. All you have to do is, and you'll get better at this when you get older. But all you have to do is schedule your days. And so this here is a schedule for my MBA degree students. It's available in OneNote format, PowerPoint, PDF, LibreOffice, every open source software platform there is. I've made it for them. And I have them schedule, if they can, everything during the week at least. So you can take that one day off a week, because if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. And if you want to get access to a non-premium version of that schedule, you can go to my website, harouneducation.com/ all lowercase schedule. And you can download a PowerPoint version of that as well and customize it yourself. And we all know that when we go on vacation or we take an extended time off from work, we're just not productive. We have all the time in the world, but we still can't make it to the gym for some reason. So the bottom line is, if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person and schedule your days. Yeah. One more thing I'll say, Shubham, though. When it comes to stress, a lot of times it's up here. Like Sir Winston Churchill, he said he remembered a time when he was talking to a buddy of his on his friend's deathbed, and his friend talked about all the worries he had in his life, none of which came true. So for me personally, when it comes to business stuff, at least, I don't worry ever, because I tell myself God already knows what's going to happen, and that puts me at ease. Okay. Next up is Melody is saying, how do you maintain your health with all you do? Thank you. And you wrote here, I love that you do the treadmill and the vitamins. There was one thing you mentioned, something silver. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And for those of you not familiar with what Melody is saying, I've got a treadmill under my desk here. And so what I do is I raise this up and then I turn the treadmill on. It's the cheapest treadmill you can buy too. But that's what I do. In addition to not understanding how to work a microphone properly. All right, I've got to fix this. There you go. You get what you pay for. That's what I get for being cheap and buying a cheap microphone stand. But in terms of the product that you're talking about, and I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist at all, so please do your own research. But my little sister Elizabeth, who I love dearly, she recommended this product, and first of all, I biohack a lot. Like I take a lot of chances. I try new substances, nothing bad, but I'm always trying to optimize my cognitive abilities and all that stuff. So she recommended this product, and she's a biohacker too, and she's in superb shape up here and physically as well. She's awesome. So she told me to take this product whenever I'm starting to feel sick, called colloidal silver. Okay, do your research though, please. And what I do with this is I take, and I had another vitamin C substance I'll show you later, but what I do is whenever I'm starting to feel sick, okay, and there might not be any science to back this up, but I don't care because it works for me. But do what works for you, please. But whenever I'm starting to feel a little bit sick, you know that feeling? I take this and I put some drops under my tongue and I wait for 10 seconds. I do it a couple times that day. And without fail, every single time I've been using this, I don't get sick. I feel like I'm on the Truman Show here, that great movie from '98 with Jim Carrey. Again, I'm not a doctor. Do your research on it first, obviously. But this helps me, and please do what works for you. But yeah, so that helps. But I also take this special vitamin C tablet. I can't seem to find it. I have it here somewhere. Oh, here it is. I found it. Hold on. So I take this this vitamin C tablet it's just vitamin C. That's all it is. There's no science behind this. But you can buy this. It's called Airborne. So whenever I'm starting to feel like, oh my gosh, I might be getting sick, what I'll do is I'll take one of these bad boys. They're just little tablets here, and I'll drop them in water, and it tastes like, I don't know, orange juice or something like that. But it works for me. But again, do what works for you. All right. Next question is from Shubham, who's saying, what do you think are the major challenges in hiring processes these days? Yeah. Well, I think just given COVID, it's tough to be able to sit down with somebody and get to know them on a personal level. Zoom is great, and it's a good Band-Aid solution, but there has to be a little bit more one-on-one interaction. And you can't assess how somebody you're hiring is going to be able to deal with human relations or other employees in the office by just doing a Zoom interview. Zoom interviews are cool if you're outsourcing something, which is what I do. I have only a handful of employees, but I outsource a ton of other stuff. Yeah, and it's also tough to kind of foster or create a superb corporate culture using just Zoom. It's possible to do, but it's really, really hard. It's tough. Yeah. The next question is, how casual and relaxed should one be in a job interview? Yeah. So I think you have to go in with the mentality of you don't care if you get the job or not. And hear me out on this, but when I was younger, I remember I had a ton of interviews and I couldn't get a job. And I practiced over and over and over again more than anybody, and I still couldn't get the job. And I thought, what the hell is wrong with me? And then what happened was, and this happened to me on a couple of occasions, I got so fed up that I showed up to an interview and I said, I don't care. I didn't say it out loud. I thought it. I'm just going to be me. And I wasn't rude or disingenuous or insincere, but I was just myself. And, we talked about sports. And by the way, before you go to an interview or a meeting with anybody in business, make sure you go to their Twitter profile to see who they follow, because you might be able to spark up a conversation about sports or movies or whatever it is, something that they're also passionate about. And so I went to the interviews and I said, I just don't care. And I just kind of sat back and I relaxed. And we just talked about life. And I got those jobs. Yeah. So just be you, because everybody else is taken. And your parents and your friends love you for who you are. So don't try to be somebody else. I'm talking to myself in hindsight. Because as Dr. Seuss famously said, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. So just be yourself, and everything else will work out, I promise you. Alrighty. Next question is, do you play any musical instruments? Yeah. So I grew up playing piano. I played trumpet for a while. I did a lot of violin as well, the Suzuki methodology. And I remember when I was younger, my parents, they're awesome. They made me take piano lessons. And I was in the basement practicing. This is terrible. If my kids are listening to this, they're probably not. Earmuffs, please. But what I did was, while I was in the basement, I recorded myself practicing one day. And then I played it. And as I played it, I was using the Apple IIe to play video games. Yeah. Droll and Karateka. Those are the games. And Minor 49er, I think. Yeah. And then eventually my parents said when I was a teenager, it's up to you if you want to continue. So, of course, I didn't continue. And then eventually in my 30s, I bought a piano. And now I play again. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. And my favorite kind of music is playing music from the motion picture Up. It's a wonderful soundtrack. I play that in piano. I also play other songs. Recently, speaking of Nintendo, I got a book and my kids and I were playing certain piano tunes from Nintendo. And there's this one song that we love. It's called Dire Dire Docks. And it's from Mario 64 when he was underwater. It's beautiful music. It's incredible. And Nintendo's a great company. And again, we're doing a case study with my MBA degree students. That's why all this stuff is up here and these blueprints. And this just shows how innovative Nintendo is. Yeah. But I do love music. I love all kind of music. All kind. Everything from Enya to heavy metal. Everything. Classical, etc. Yeah. And my favorite classical composer was Chopin. Or Chopin. Yeah. Or Bach and Beethoven. Yeah. And Handel. I got a good grip on the Handel music. Okay. Next question is, how often do you read books? Yeah. So I read a couple per month now, but I don't sit down and read. What I do now is over Audible. And so this past weekend, I actually read a couple books. I finished the whole things on Nintendo, just in preparation for just the class I'm teaching on Nintendo as part of a case study. And what I do is I listen to them over Audible. And so there's this one book that I listened to this weekend. It's 8 hours long, but I did it in 4 hours. And I did it while I was cooking. I listened to it. I did it also when I went on walks as well. And I did another one on how Nintendo beat Sega in the console wars back in the early 90s on the weekend. That was 20 hours. But you listen in high speed mode and you can get through it pretty quickly as well. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to multitask, yeah. And Melody is saying, oh, can you visit my channel? I put up a new video last night. Loving literacy. Yeah, sure. Okay, let's do this. Loving literacy. And so for those of you not familiar with Melody, Melody is a wonderful teacher from Atlanta. And she's got a couple courses up on Udemy as well. So let me go here to YouTube, Loving Literacy. You spelled it all with one word. Okay. Here it is. All right, there it is.
Welcome to Loving Literacy's channel. I'm Melody Johnson, and I'm the founder and CEO of Loving Literacy.
I love it. Okay, cool. And you said you got a new video here, right? Let's see here. 12 hours. Okay, this one's I'll check this out later. This is a long one. It's 14 minutes long. So what I'll do is I'll check it out later on. Okay. And everybody else, please go and check it out and make sure to subscribe to Melody. Okay, so do a search for Loving Literacy and subscribe to Melody's channel. Thank you. Cool. All right. Cool. All right. And then you wrote, I'm hoping to get support from subscribers. Right now I have 25. You knew I was going to click the subscribe. You knew. I have 25. I'm trying to get to 1,000. So everybody please subscribe to Melody's channel called Loving Literacy on YouTube. And thank you. Shubham is asking, why do you think the tech industry rose so much in the past couple of decades? Yeah. Well, it's because of earnings. Just when a company has superb earnings growth, as long as there's no multiple contraction on a PE basis, the stocks go up. So yeah, and usually when a stock beats earnings by 20% after hours, the stock usually jumps by 20%. And the reason is because the market usually likes to keep a consistent valuation multiple. So whatever multiple you look at is applicable to that example. So if a company trades at 20 times earnings and they report earnings and they beat by 15% earnings, then in order for the stock to still stay at 20 times, a lot of investors want to stay at 20 times, the stock will go up 15%. Yeah. The next question is, who had the most profound impact in your career and life in your 20s? Yeah. So aside from my parents, there's this a couple of people. There's a guy named Murray Chronic, and Murray he worked at Synerlogic and then a company called Accenture, and he was my first boss when I was in Ottawa, and he gave me a lot of autonomy and the confidence to manage other people as well. And so Murray helped me out tremendously. Yeah. Aside from that, when I worked at Goldman Sachs, it was this incredible woman named Lisa Shallett. And she's great. She mentored me a lot. Even after I left Goldman, she mentored me a lot. And I call her every now and then for career help. She's amazing. She's awesome. Aside from that, a couple other people. There's a guy named Martin Crisp, who was a technology manager at Accenture. And he had a love and a passion for programming, which he shared with me, which I loved. And so there's a lot of people along the way that helped to shape my career, including friends that I worked with. My best friend, a guy named Jason Denny, Dehni. So we worked together at Accenture, and he helped me out tremendously, and he's always been a great source of inspiration for me. And then you wrote, "Thank you, Chris, for answering the question so generously. My pleasure. I really appreciate it. You're the best and the kindest. Thank you. Appreciate it." And Andrew Dupree is saying, "Hello. How are you, Andrew?" Andrew is he's American living in Toronto, which is the opposite of me. I'm Canadian living in the US&A. And Andrew was the first person accepted to my my MBA degree program, the platinum version. So it's great to have you, Andrew. Next up, Melody is saying, "Chris, do you have any new hobbies you've picked up since you work at home now?" Yeah. I don't know. I guess tennis. I bought rackets. And my kids and I, we go to play tennis together if no one's around on the courts. So there's that. And I played a lot of tennis when I was younger, but we play a lot now together. That's that. Aside from that, my hobbies are my kids. And they're down there. You can see the picture. Andrew, Matthew, Dylan, my three sons. So yeah, I spend every second of every day when I'm not teaching with Christine, my wife, and the kids. Yeah. But I guess I should find a new hobby. This year's been a bit crazy because I'm creating more than 300 hours of brand new content for my MBA degree program students. And I've also already done, I think, a couple hundred hours of live Q&A for my platinum and gold students this year. Yeah. But next year should be a lot easier because I'll have a lot of the content recorded. Yeah. And then Melody is saying, "I'm coming out with a book in mid-September with a ton of other authors. I wrote one chapter in the book." That's cool. That's awesome. Let me know when it comes out and I'll buy it. And it's prophetic because the next comment right here is from Philip Germany, who was my first student that wrote a book. And he wrote a book called Super Students, which is prophetic because he is one of my super students. But Super Students is a book you can buy on Amazon about chess strategy. Yeah. And Phil is saying, "Good morning, Chris. Good morning to you too. I did it again. I wrote another book." Oh, here we go. Too Strong to Go Old. It's on Amazon. You can search for the title under books. Awesome. Okay, let's take a look, man. Too Strong to Grow Old. Very cool. Well, I have to buy it now. Yeah. I buy books from all my students. And Phil used my template. And you can go to my website, harouneducation.com/lowercase write book for my free template. Let's go check it out. All right, so I'll go to incognito mode into Amazon. And it's called Too Strong to Grow. Too Strong to Grow. Okay. And let's see it come up here. If you just published it, it might take a little bit of time. You know what I'll do is, because I can't find it here, I'll search for your name, and then I'll click on your name. I feel like I'm my grandfather typing in caps, yelling at me. Just kidding. Yeah, I don't see it here for some reason, yeah. So, Phil Germany Super Students, that's the name of your book. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't see it anywhere here. Oh, because it's going to Germany, the country. Okay. Phil Super Students, maybe? Yeah, I'm so sorry, Phil. I don't see it in here. Super Students. I know it's plural. Hold on. Yeah, I'm so sorry, man. I can't seem to find it anymore. If I'm making a mistake here with searching, let me know. Super Students. Last one I'll do is this. No, I'll move on. I promise. Yeah, but you know what, dude? Screw it. I have to go to my orders now. Okay, I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna go to my orders and do a search. 'Cause I'm not gonna leave you hanging here. But Super Students. Here it is. Okay, great. So here, this is Super Students, and I wrote it. Love it. That's me. Great job, Phil. And then let's see here. Other books by Phil. Yeah, I don't see it here yet. It takes sometimes a little while for it to populate, but I'm so sorry. I don't see the book yet. All right, but congratulations on number 2. Okay, next up, we've got Mr. Unknown. He's saying, hello, Chris. I'm also interested in philosophy and mysticism, but unfortunately, these are very hard to monetize. How should I make money to sustain myself while I inquire and investigate my curiosity? Yeah, great question. So the way to become a thought leader is to think like a thought leader, kind of like the Rodin sculpture. I've got a mini one up there. See the white sculpture there. I think, therefore I am. And so you got to write a lot and do it over LinkedIn and other social media platforms. And eventually you will become thought of as a thought leader on a certain topic, and people will turn to you and ask you for your advice. It takes time, though. It takes time. You might have to write a couple hundred posts before you get media interest, which is what happened to me. So I would just write a lot and be a thought leader that way. And you can also write a book on philosophy and mysticism. Speaking of Rodin or like Socrates, yeah. But you can use my book template to write a book and publish it. And just go to my website, harouneducation.com/all lowercase write book, and download my template. And the template is it actually looks just like this over here. So it's 6x9. It's down here. Okay, and this is how I've written all my books using that template, and you can also use that if you want to. If you want to, yeah. And then after you write your book, what you can do is you can gut it. I shouldn't use the word gut, but you can gut it by actually copying and pasting chapters over on LinkedIn or other social media platforms as a way to market the book. Yeah. Okay. Next up is, I would like to discover, what is reality? Who are we? And why do we exist? Wow. Great question. Yeah. So I personally think that our purpose on this planet is to leave this world having made the world a better place than when you entered it. And when you do that and you serve others and you help others and you help others improve their lives through whatever career you choose, you do feel a sense of purpose. and it makes life much more enjoyable. And so for me, my humble purpose is to teach. It's what I love to do. I love to help people with their careers, and I actually get depressed if I don't help somebody every single day. It's just embedded within the DNA subfabric of who I am. But it takes a while, man, to understand what your passion is. And so what I recommend you do is think about if you were given a month off of work and you can't travel, you can't work, and you can't go to school. What would you do with your time that makes you, number one, happy, and number two, enhances the lives of others? And whatever that is, that's your passion, and you should run after it no matter what anybody says. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and can't do in your life. So, but you got to find your passion and purpose that way. Yeah. And for me, I remember I worked on Wall Street. I worked at Goldman Sachs in the hedge fund industry. And my happiest day was always the first day. And it would go downhill. And I thought I was clinically depressed. And then I started teaching, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is the answer. This is the answer. This is my passion, my purpose. And, Mark Twain had a great quote. He said, the two most important days in your life are, number one, the day you were born, and then number two, the day you find out why. You got to search for your why. Why are we here? What are you passionate about? How can you help other people and improve their lives? So again, I think that for many of us, I think our passion, our purpose in life is to help others, to serve others, so to speak, and to leave this world, having putting your mark on the world or your dent in the universe, leave this world in a better condition than when you entered it. Next up, are your kids having a lot to work on since they do a hybrid method in school? Our school just offered the hybrid method. I decided to homeschool my daughter because it's just a lot. Yeah. So my kids we're in a great school district. I don't believe in private school, but my kids are in a great public school, and they've been amazing. They've been amazing. That some of the kids get Chromebooks. For those that don't have great internet access, they give you these wireless hotspots if you need it. And the teachers are amazing here. They teach over Zoom. Sometimes I'll walk into Dylan's room, my youngest one, and he'll be doing yoga because the teacher, for a break, they make them do yoga, which is pretty cool. It's really innovative too. The teachers have found incredibly innovative and fun ways to teach as well. And so we're very blessed that we're in a good public school district. But my heart bleeds for people that are not getting access to education because of COVID. If you're in certain public school districts, some teachers for some reasons can't really spend that much time mentoring and helping students. So yeah, it's tragic, but I think there's an opportunity to learn online through self-learning by taking lots of online courses, which are cheap, and almost all of them have a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Yeah, but my kids aren't allowed to go back to school until next year. Here in California, COVID it's getting worse. So anyway, crazy year. But when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And the positive thing, if I can find some sort of silver lining in this insanity, is that I get to spend more time with my oldest boy, Andrew, right here. And so by the time your child is 12 years old, you've already spent 90% of the time you've ever spent with them. And Andrew's 16 now, and we exercise, whatever, we hang out together, we play MLB The Show a lot together. It's fun. I'm always the Blue Jays, he's the Yankees, and yes, he beats me all the time. But no, there's an element of forced family fun now, and I'm cherishing every second that I get with them, because you can't get that time back. Yeah. Next up is Timothy, who's saying, I'm extremely interested in taking your online MBA program, and I must say that I love your advice and I enjoy all you have to say, and I think I would get a lot from your courses. Thank you. However, my concern, though, is that your program is not accredited, and I wonder how prospective employers or business associates might view that I have an unaccredited MBA down the road. Do you have any insights or thoughts on the subject? Yeah. Yeah. So I did look into accreditation before I launched it. And one of the issues with accreditation is that you're kind of told what you have to teach. And I don't want anybody telling me what I can and cannot teach. Because the problem with traditional MBA schools and undergraduate institutions is they're teaching stuff that was literally relevant last century. And MBA schools don't teach you skills that you can immediately apply in the real world. They don't teach you how to present. They don't teach you how to interview. They don't teach you how to sell. They don't teach you how to manage your own money. You learn how to manage other people's money. They also don't teach you how to write an amazing business plan. And ask anybody that's graduated from business school, the day after they graduate, so do you know how to start a company? The answer is no. The answer is no. And so I pride myself and always have on teaching online and teaching business concepts that you can apply immediately in the real world, or your money back. I have a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee as well. And the cost of the silver version of my MBA program is literally the same cost for 1 hour at a lot of bricks and mortar universities. Yeah. All right. All right. Next up is Danielle is saying, hey, Chris, I have an idea that I want to turn into a product. What's your advice on product development and then launching a successful campaign on Kickstarter? Yeah. So I've never started a product and launched it on Kickstarter, but what I would say is just be comfortable with imperfection, because as Salvador Dali said, if you strive for perfection, you'll never reach it. And so you want to be comfortable releasing a product that's not ready. That's right. And they refer to this as an MVP, which stands for minimum viable product. And so these online crowdsourcing websites, these places like Kickstarter, they're great for raising money for a product that hasn't yet been completed yet. Hasn't yet been completed. Yeah. Timothy is, oh yeah, I answered that one already. Avi Pro, how are you? Avi Pro is a pilot from Sweden, I think, right? Avi Pro is saying, good morning, Chris. I hope all is well with you and your family. Likewise. Okay. And then C-Boost is saying, thanks for the invitation. You're most welcome. Surendra is asking, I work at a company and I need to make a sale of its product. The product is not up to the mark or has flaws. Is it ethical to lie and make that sales? No, don't do it. And the question you should always ask yourself is this: would I sell this product to my parents? If the answer isn't an unequivocal yes, then don't do it. Don't do it. We're all going to work at a lot of companies in our lifetimes, and the only thing you take with you from one company to the next is your reputation. So yeah, I would not sell that product. Yeah. Solly in the house. Solly, how are you? Solly is one of my wonderful Platinum MBA degree program students. He's very inspirational. I've got a one-on-one meeting with Solly this afternoon, and that's what that timer is for. I have 20-minute one-on-ones this afternoon with a lot of my Platinum students. And Solly is, he lives in Lithuania. He's a rock star programmer. He's got an incredible company, and he's created a product that's much, much better than powtunes.com. And he's going to put his dent in the universe. I know that for sure. Yeah. Next up is Paul, who's saying, Chris, who are your biggest competitors? Let's see about that. I guess traditional business schools. I think that HBS, or 2/3 of Harvard Business School, is BS. But you can't say that about Haroun Business School. It doesn't work that way. It's a little bit different, okay? Yeah. I would say traditional business schools. My mission is to add way more value immediately than they ever can. And the cost of my MBA degree program, the silver version, is literally the same cost as 1 hour at those traditional bricks and mortar business schools. And I'm humbled to say you get a lot more value out of my program. You hit the ground running immediately. It's immediate impact you can apply to enhance your career from a personal development perspective, or your own business if you have one, or your money back. There's a 30-day 100% money back guarantee. Traditional business schools don't do that. Next question is from, okay, give me 1 second, guys. It jumps every now and then on me, so I saw the word Christopher, so I'll do a search for the word Christopher, and my name is actually Christopher. Hold on a second. Yeah. And so my mom, when she was upset, she would say, Christopher. And Christopher, actually, I'll tell you the derivation as I try to buy time. Christopher actually, so in ancient times, the person that carried you across the river before bridges were invented was called a topher. And one day there was this topher that was trying to carry this child across the river. And the topher tried really, really hard and couldn't carry this child and almost gave up. But he persisted and he didn't give up. And at the end, he took the child off his back and he put him on the side of the Jordan River, I guess. And somebody said to the topher, congratulations, you just carried the Christ child. And that name, or that job of being a topher, was rebranded as a Christopher. So Christopher. Okay. How is that for buying time? Is that good? Christopher. I'm doing a search here on, hold on a second. There we go. Okay, I got it. Thanks. So Christopher is asking, Chris, I have a civil engineering degree and I want to complete an MBA. Will this be a struggle for me coming from an engineering background? I work in project management for a construction company currently. No, I think it's a plus for a couple of reasons. Number one, when you apply to business schools, the people that get accepted are the ones that help to diversify the student body. And your background is a little bit different from others. Also, when I used to work full-time in venture capital, we always used to say, it's easier to teach an engineer finance than it is for a finance person to learn engineering. Next up is Manas, who's saying, hi, my dear mentor. Hey, Manas, hope you're doing well, bud. You wrote, good morning, and I hope you are all safe. So the book is 95% complete. Oh, great, great. And you know the title. You're the only person except me who knows the title. Excellent. Thank you. And best of luck with it. I'm looking forward to it. And when it comes out, tell me here on this webcast, please. And then I'll order over Amazon like I do with all my students' books. Tony is saying, good morning, sir. Good morning to you as well. I truly subscribe to your mission that focus, discipline, and education solves most problems in the world. May God bless you and your family for all your efforts. Thank you. You're most welcome, Tony. God bless you much, much more. And my middle child, Matthew, the guy on this side here, his middle name is Anthony. And so is my brother, James, for St. Anthony, one of my mom's favorite saints, or second favorite saint after Padre Pio. Yeah. But I've got a TEDx talk, which I've translated into 10 languages online, on how you can fix every problem in the world with education. So check it out if any of you want to. And thank you. And thank you, Tony. God bless you more. Okay. And Manas is saying, here's my idea. My aim is to take this book to as many people as possible. So my book is basically free for all your students. Thank you. MBA students and your Udemy students. Just tell me and I'll send it. No, thank you, bud. The PDF. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. And bring the book too with you when you go to job interviews and when you go to interviews with people that might potentially invest in your company or potential customers. And the beautiful thing about writing a book is it's free. Anybody can do it. All you do is go to my website to download my templates. And this book right here, this book, which is free, you can get it from my website. It's 6 inches by 9 inches. And the template for it you can get at harouneducation.com/write-book. It's free to write a book. Anybody can do it. I include 1 page of instructions there on how to write it, so you can publish it immediately on Amazon Kindle, Amazon Print, as well as Audible. And then you can bring the book with you to your informational meetings and impress the heck out of people when you go to meetings, because nobody does that. And you got to ask yourself, how badly do you want this job? Next up is Manas, who's asking, hi, Chris, thanks again for featuring my question on your vlog. You're most welcome. Looks like we have 2 people named Manas here. And you wrote, hope all is well, likewise. And then the other Manas is saying here, and this Manas Roy, and every time I see your name, I think of Patrick Roy, who is a great goalie for the Montreal Canadiens, second best team in hockey after the Toronto Maple Leafs. Manas is saying, I'm a part of your team, and as a team member, it's my duty to do something for my team. I'm not doing this for money. I'm happy if I'll be able to earn whatever I will spend in the copyrights. That's okay. Thank you. You have a big heart. And then you wrote here, so my question for today is, can you please explain to me the board members of a company like Banana Watches? And Manas is referring to one of the case studies I created in a course I have on Udemy called An Entire MBA in One Course, where there was a company selling banana watches, which obviously competed with a fruit company based in Cupertino. You wrote, if Sequoia invests in my company, then will they send a representative to my company as a board member? Yeah. So, and you're most welcome. Thank you. I love all your emojis there. So when somebody invests a lot of money in your company or any company, they have a fiduciary duty and a fiscal responsibility to report to their shareholders how the investment is doing. And the way they do that quite often is by joining the board. Okay, and so they can be a board member if they invest a lot of money. And the board meets 4 times per year, and they just talk about how business is progressing and what the next steps are to kind of crystallize growth for the company. So yeah, that's how it works. And there's usually an odd number of board members, not an even number, so that there's no gridlock from a voting perspective. Decisions get made instead of gridlock if it's an even number. Yeah. And don't ever join a board or be a board member without first talking to a lawyer and getting what's called director and officer insurance. D&O insurance, director and officer insurance, because if you don't have a legal document to protect you, and the legal fee should be paid for by the company that's asking you to be on their board, if you don't have that D&O insurance, then if something goes wrong with the company, then shareholders can sue you as well. Yeah. Okay. Next question is, please tell me, what should I call you? Because it feels awkward to call a person by its name who is your teacher and is your father's age. Thank you. Just call me Chris, please. Yeah, call me Chris. Yeah. Because my maturity clearly is I'm younger than you are, maturity-wise, given all these props today. And actually, the reason I have these is because I'm doing a case study with my MBA degree students on Nintendo. And so we've got all the blueprints and all that stuff. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And hats off to Matt Lacousse, my awesome Chief Creative Officer, for making this badass poster for our 103rd weekly webcast. And then you wrote, have a nice day. Likewise, thank you. Sheila is saying, hi, Professor. Great to be here on the weekly Office Hours Webcast 103. Thanks for everything. You're most welcome. And then you wrote, what are your thoughts on the audiobook app Blinkist? I don't know anything about it. I'm so sorry. I use the Audible app to listen to books. Yeah. Okay. Next up. Hi, Chris. I have a question on the MBA program that I believe I have not seen answered elsewhere. Will this year's content be any different from last year? As in, will there be replays from last year? It's going to be the same. It's going to be the same. Yeah. And if you join the gold program or platinum program, you get hundreds of hours of live Q&A with me, either using YouTube Live here or over Zoom. And in the platinum program, you also get, wrong pedal again. In the platinum program, you also get access to several hours of one-on-one meetings as well, either in person, if you visit the Bay Area or you live here, or we can do it over Zoom. And today, actually, what we're doing is on Thursdays, after this 3-hour call, which goes from 8 until 11 a.m., I then have office hours for MBA gold and platinum students only for a couple hours. Then I have a number of one-on-ones, and that's why I have the timer there, just to time up the one-on-ones. Yeah. Next up, Eric King John is saying, great t-shirt, Chris. Thank you. And by the way, I wanted to thank you for suggesting Angela Yu's course on Udemy. I'm taking her web development course and it's great. Dude, she is awesome. So for those of you not familiar with Angela, I met her for the first time in Berlin last year at a Udemy conference. Angela is a doctor, Dr. Angela Yu. She lives in England, and she decided she's more passionate about teaching and coding. And so she teaches on Udemy how to program. And I think she's awesome. She's great. Yeah. And her ratings are off the charts high, like 3 standard deviations away from the average. It's unbelievable. It's amazing. Yeah. Take her courses. Yeah. All right. And then next up, also, I remember it being half the price it is now, although you deserve infinitely more times than what it will be another flash sale coming. Thanks again. Yeah. So no, the MBA program, the way it works, I'll show you here. The way it works is there's 3 versions. There's the silver version right here, which you can sign up for today. You don't have to apply for it. And that's over 300 hours of lessons. And there's a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Then there's the gold and platinum versions. And the gold and platinum versions, it starts every December. It lasts a year, and you have to apply. Yeah. And so you get the same thing you get in the silver with gold, except you get a couple hundred hours of live Q&A. And then that's the price. And then with platinum, you get everything you get in gold, except you get several hours of one-on-one meetings with me in person in the Bay Area, or over Zoom. And again, these 2 you have to apply. In terms of the dates, just you can mouse over here to get the important dates. So early admission deadline is passed already. But the general admissions application deadline is October 15th. Yeah. And to learn more, you can always go to my website, click here on MBA degree program. You can read the student testimonials from people all over the world. Contact them if you want to. Then here are the FAQs, the frequently asked questions. There's lots of them here. And if the question's not answered here, you can always email admissions@harounventures.com. And thanks a lot for the question. Yeah. Next up, Noelle is saying, you've changed the background a lot. That's great. Yeah. It's different today. It's different. Yeah. And I try to change the set. I changed the set entirely for every one of my MBA classes. Right. And there's 100 classes we have over the course of a year that lasts about 3 hours each. And I changed the background for every single class. And what we used to do, and we're learning a lot. It's been fun. What we used to do is we would put up posters, which you can see there. And it got a bit expensive. And so I realized that I could save a lot of money by buying this product here. And so this is a product owned by a wonderful tech company called Netgear, which is kind of like Cisco, but for consumers. And they sell this product called the Mural too. And you can get it also in a small form factor size. They just announced it this week as well. And the great thing about this product is that it's a subscription service too. If you want, you can subscribe to art from all the greatest artists. The great thing about it is that the screen is matte, so there's no glare. But you have to angle it a certain way. And you can't see this, but it's actually, I can fit in my fist almost right here. And on the other side, I can't. And I have to angle it that way because of the lights I have here, but you can't tell. But if you look at it from different angles, you can see it in the corner by my elbow there's a bit of glare. And then from this perspective, there's glare as well. And I have a camera that's moving on a slider very slowly there. Yeah, you can see, you can't even see it here because of the glare. So it's meant mainly for this angle here. Yeah. Yeah. All right. There we go. Pardon me. The next question is from D'Angelo saying, good morning, Chris. Good morning. In your experience / opinion, which technology specs are a must-have for a new laptop or a tablet? I plan to use it remotely. Yeah. So I would say that the processor is not as important as RAM. So RAM means how many programs you can have open at once. I would get at least 16 gigabits of RAM. and then get at least an i7 processor, which is one of the older Intel processors. And for those of you not familiar with processors, the processor is basically the brain of the computer, and this is what it looks like. This is an Intel chip from 1994, which was faulty, and is the subject of a case study I did with my MBA degree students on how Intel dealt with disaster recovery and PR and all that stuff. Yeah, but I would say RAM is the most important thing. Yeah, and get it. And if you have the budget for it, get solid state drive as well, which is much faster. And get as much storage as you can. So many times I bought laptops, and then I run out of storage, and I tell myself, "Oh my gosh, I would have paid double the price to get it, double the storage increase price to get a bigger hard drive." Yeah, so get it as big of a hard drive you can. Get it in flash if you can. And then also at least 16 gigs of RAM. And I would say a minimum processor is an i7, which is one of the older Intel processors. Yeah. 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 And I wouldn't, and you wrote laptop or tablet. I don't think tablets are there yet. They're getting closer. But they're not there yet. And one great laptop I had for years was the Lenovo Yoga, which basically it's a laptop and a tablet kind of, because it basically you can use like a laptop and then turn the screen around, and it's like a tablet as well. And the screen was amazing. Make sure that the number of nits, NITS, is high when looking at a screen like that. Yeah, meaning how bright the screen is. And then Noel wrote, I dream of having a studio like you and so many students. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I've made a ton of mistakes, but hats off to Matt Lacousse, my chief creative officer. He's amazing. I made him a partner, my only partner in my firm recently. He's great. But he helped me a lot with this. And the way we architected this was we wanted everything to either be on the ceiling or on the ground on wheels. And this here, you see it's kind of a strip you see in garages. That's where the cables go in case my kids walk in. And I'm in socks because I've got pedals down here that I'm pressing to change the angles. And the way I came up with these pedals was they're basically keyboards, and you just map in different keystrokes, right? So the main angle I use is here. And then I have a slightly wider angle today just to kind of change it around a bit, just for fun. Yeah, but it's great. And on the ceiling, it's tough to see, but there's lots of pipes that we put up, and each stud in each of those pipes can withhold close to 200 pounds. So I can literally swing like a monkey across them if I wanted to. Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of pipes, that's a good segue into this week's case study, which is Nintendo. And the reason I have all these props here is because with my MBA degree students, we're doing a case study on Nintendo, and I can't wait to teach it. It's going to be so much fun. Yeah. And then D'Angelo's is saying the laptop I want to get is mostly for content creation, meaning writing and video editing. Yeah. In that case, I would also make sure you get a decent graphics card, okay, from ATI, which is owned by AMD, or from NVIDIA. Yeah. And I prefer Macs, but I use both. I find that Macs are easier to edit on. And the way I started video editing was I started, like for my first 20 courses on Udemy, I just used iMovie, did it all myself. Using my Mac laptop. And then what happened is I moved up a bit and started using Final Cut. So iMovie comes for free on all Macs. And then Final Cut you can pay for or get a free 30-day trial and then buy it. It's really easy to use. And then if you want really high-end stuff, which is what Matt, my editor, does, he uses Premiere Pro. And so that's how he does it. And I have a number of different camera angles. We record everything in 4K, although you're watching 1080 right now on YouTube because you can't stream 4K yet. But we record everything in 4K for the MBA program. And then it's all rendered in 1080 for now, but it's all future proofed. And we have many different camera angles, as you know. Yeah. So, and these are just some of them. We have many more as well, including a robotic camera that moves up and down. which is on this side of the room. And the reason, like, this is a one-man show. Like, I run this, meaning operations-wise, these calls, just myself here. And I want to, I want my students to understand how to do something like this, but on a budget. And so you can get great quality video like this using just your iPhone or your Android handsets. And if you want proof of that, then go to Instagram and go to my Instagram page and look for, I was interviewed by Udemy, and we did a live webcast. And I just used my iPhone for it, and my earbuds for my iPhone. So as Seth Godin said, you already have everything you need to build something far bigger than yourself. Use what you have. And quite often, an iPhone or an Android handset is good enough. And with my MBA degree students in the sales, marketing, and communication classes coming up soon, I'm going to be teaching you how to create a studio on the cheap using what you have. Yeah. All right. Next up is, how is innovation management weighted in the MBA program? Is it something that is touched on briefly, or is it something that is explored in detail? Yeah. So I teach you everything you need to be successful in business, including a lot of social media stuff as well. And basically how to use all major technology products to market your business. Yeah. So we do that. And we go through a really, I've got I'll show you here. Part of it is there's a venture capital boot camp as well that I teach. And basically what we do is when I worked full-time venture capital, I did a lot of work with incubators, and I invested in companies from 500 startups, etc. And so I basically used the methodology that I used when I worked in venture capital to teach you how to create an amazing business as part of the venture capital boot camp. Yeah. You take off my chapeau. All right. And we have fun doing it too. And I don't believe in teaching anything ever unless it's fun and edutaining, meaning educational and entertainment. And that's actually what my license plate is. It's down there. It's the word edutain. And so every class has to be fun and unique and artistic from a learning perspective. Otherwise, it won't work. So everything I do has to be fun for my students, and my students are having fun. Next up, I am planning on a course and a book. I will start making the course and write the book only when I've planned all that I'm going to write and teach, because failing to plan is planning to fail. I love that quote too. It's true, especially with a business plan. Failing to plan is planning to fail. So here's what I do. What I do is I create my Udemy courses, and then I go to a website called rev.com. And on rev.com, I get closed captions made. And when you get closed captions made for your entire course or entire videos, it's so easy to export into text files all of the captions. Then you make a book out of that. It's easy to do. And I do it all the time. I'll show you. So the website is called rev.com. And it's the de facto standard for getting captions done. Okay, rev.com. And let me log in just to show you. Yeah, so I've been using it forever. And by the way, all of the MBA degree classes, all of them are captioned, every single one, and it's high-end captions too, right? So for example, this is just a random one here. Let me go to somewhere in the middle, I guess here. So this here was just me being interviewed, right? And I had this little lesson was thrown in there, but everything is captioned, and I'll show you what it looks like. And you can download all the captions as well in any format you want, including text. But if we go here and we go to the silver program, and let me open this in an incognito window. But you can scroll down and you can view a ton of lectures, by the way, for free without signing up. I always give away 10% of all my courses and everything, just so you can kind of understand what you're getting yourself into. But basically, if you click here, and I've got it muted, But let me...
Moving on to topic 2 of 3.
Apparently you don't have muted. Yeah. But if I go full screen, and what I'll do is let me just get my face. One Chris is too much, right? So let me go here so you don't see me twice. But what I do, and I muted it, is right here, you've got captions. And the great thing about these captions is they're high end to the extent that you can do a search for anything you want, and it'll automatically get you there automatically. And this here, by the way, it's moving down automatically based on what I say. So if I search for the word the, and this is ridiculous, but there's 52 instances of the word the. And watch what happens down here when I click here. Watch this. It jumps automatically there. Yeah. So I've got very high-end captions that are there. And the way that I architected this was so that you could take this on a desktop or a laptop or a television even, right? You can stream it. Everything has been optimized for a small screen. And all the workbooks are in multiple formats, including Microsoft Word, PDF, and Google Docs, so that I don't leave any student behind. And regardless of what form factor you want to watch the courses, the lessons on, I've got you covered. Okay. And Ramon wrote, I'm 10 minutes late. No, it's great to have you. And the great thing about my courses is that you're never late, because you can take my courses and my MBA degree program on your own terms, because everything is saved online and you get access forever for free after you sign up. Vihang is saying, hey, Chris, loving your courses on Udemy. Thank you. And thanks for being here. I appreciate that. Next question is, what do we call the artificial wall which you had last year in your studio, and how can I get it? Yeah. So the artificial wall, it's just, all it is cardboard. And I've got a lot of cardboard walls set up here as well. And let me show you, see if I can show you the floor. So the floor here, this here, it's not, it looks like wood. It's just little panels. They're kind of cushy as well. It's nice. And I glue them to the floor directly. And you can see here, let me try maybe another angle, might be easier to show you. You can see down here, it's beechwood down there as well. Underneath, it's just cardboard, or a cheap version of particle board, I should say. But in terms of what you're referring to, with respect to what I had last year, I had a brick wall up. And by the way, the panels on the floor, they're 8 feet by 4 feet. You get them from Home Depot or Lowe's to American hardware stores for $10 each. And the bricks on the wall, which I'm going to show you in a second, you can get them for $30 for 12 feet by 4, and you have to cut them as well. So let me show you. Complete YouTube course, Haroun, Udemy. Yeah. Let me show you here. So let's go to, here we go. Whoops, that's Udemy freebies. It's not free for them. All right. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. All right. So I'll go to Udemy, and then we'll just search for it there. Okay, we'll just go to my profile in Udemy, and I'll show you the walls that I used. So if we go to my name here, I'll get there fast. I promise you. I'm trying to get to the complete YouTube course. Yeah. Here it is, right here we go, right here. Yeah. All right. So, and I'll just show you a sample lecture here. So this is the wall that I put up.
YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world, and YouTube is the only gold rush investment.
Let me put that on mute. But here, this wall behind me, there's a couple panels, and right here you can see where I stuck 2 of the panels together. And these were $30, and they're massive. And all I did was I just propped it against the wall with nails. And there's some nails here. You see here? Little nails here. And other ones are tougher to see. But that's it. That's what I did. And then I just put a slightly bluish light behind me as well on the wall. And I think I got the coloring a little bit off of my face there in post-production when I edited it myself. Yeah. And then here's Sasha Stevenson. So she's one of my students I actually met here on the weekly call number 10, I think. And she has over 100 million views, and she's a internet sensation. But she used green screen, and I use this. And the curtain that you can see there is the same curtain I have behind me on the right, and it blocks sound. And what it also does is it blocks the light from the outside. So let me close this out to conserve bandwidth, and I'll show you what that means. So right there. So this curtain here, it blocks the sound and the light. They're cheap. You can get these on Amazon. So here it is here. Yeah. And the other side is black as well. They're reversible. Yeah. All right. All right. Next up, we've got Simcha saying, what do you think of Grant Cardone's methodology? I'm sorry, I don't know who that person is. Sorry. And then you wrote, next up is, there was a brick-like artificial wall earlier in my webcast. Yeah. And that's exactly what I showed. Yeah, thanks. The next question is, how can I increase my level of focus while studying? Yeah. So for me, I only study first thing in the morning when I do study, which is not that often anymore, because 1 hour of work or school work in the morning is the equivalent of like 10 hours at night because you're fresh. However, if it's the afternoon and you have to study and you don't feel fresh, then what I do, and this is just me, is I actually study while I'm on a treadmill or on my cheap used elliptical trainer. And I do that because, and I'll show you, I do it because your brain is like a muscle. And if you take in more oxygen and you treat it well, you can retain a lot more information. And so quite often what I do is I actually, I raise this up here, and underneath this thing, this is like a Michael Bay Transformer production. Underneath this thing is my treadmill. I take the obviously the chair off, and I walk while I work, and it works exceptionally well. So try it out. And then if there's noise, what I do is I put on my Bose headset so I can block out the noise. But I usually don't need to because I used to work on a trading floor, and I'm used to background noise. So that's what I do. And I spoil myself as well with good coffee. I love coffee, which helps me a lot. And I make sure that if I'm not in the mood to do it, which is rare because I love doing what I'm doing, but I'll throw in classical music in the background. And I love listening to soundtracks, anything that Hans Zimmer has written. And if there's anybody from Germany on the call, thank you for Hans Zimmer. And my favorite soundtrack of his is the soundtrack for the motion picture Interstellar. And it gets me into this zone, this creative zone, which I love. And soundtracks really change your emotions as well. Like, try watching a great movie without music on. It sucks. And by the same token, you can control your emotions and your ability to focus by listening to great soundtracks while you work. Another soundtrack I love is the soundtrack that Vangelis wrote for Blade Runner, the first Blade Runner movie in the early 1980s. Yeah, you set the soundtrack for your life. So if you spoil yourself with good coffee, exercise, and music while you're studying, it's not work, it's fun. And then Follow Your Dreams wrote, how about while you study having a nice crispy beer? Yeah. And I don't drink anymore, but I don't drink any less. Sorry, that was a bad joke. Next question is, what are your views on Greta Thunberg? I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. I'm so sorry. And people will ask me sometimes about my thoughts on the Canva or Canvas model approach for business plans and stuff. And I don't read other people's educational materials ever. I just kind of stick within my vacuum and teach what I know based on my experience. Yeah. Next up is, I think in the future, students will learn physics, English, and other subjects by just playing games. Oh, dude, I love it. And you and I are on the same page there because I really believe in edutainment, meaning education and entertainment. And I'm actually, no, I'm not going to say. I'm teaching my next class with my MBA students. Some of them are watching, that's why I'm not going to say. But it's in such a unique and fun way using Nintendo products. And we're doing a case study on Nintendo. And my mission is to eventually be able to teach using augmented reality. And so I play a lot with Adobe Dimension, the Adobe 3D product. And I use a lot of 3D models when I teach my classes, yeah. And for a sample of that, you can always just go to my website and click on one of the MBA programs. You can watch a couple free lectures there to see. Yeah. But I do believe in gamification and edutainment, that's for sure. All right, next up is, what software do you use for live video cast? And how did you manage the multicam switching thing? And then you wrote, P.S. Sorry for an off-topic question. No, please. No, this is ask anything you want. This is an AMA. Ask me anything, like you see on Reddit. So I'll show you the software I use. So it's called Wirecast, and it's made by a company called Telestream. And you can get a product like this that's free, though, which is called OBS, which stands for Open Broadcast Software. And so I use this here. And now in terms of changing the camera angles here, all I did was I attached pedals. And the pedals are like keyboards. And so I map certain keys here. So I can go here to keyboard shortcut. So this one here I called left, center, right one more, and then picture in picture. And so, and that's the down arrow, right, whatever, left and right, and I map the keys. And so each one of these pedals, and I'll push them now, right down here. Hi there. Each one of these pedals is kind of like a keyboard, right? And so, and the way I do it is I do it in a flow perspective. So I always know where the cameras are with these 5 pedals. So I have 5 pedals here as follows. This one here, then I've got this one in order, and then moving over this way, I've got my Sony on my slider there. And then over here, I've got my old C300 my old C300 camera here. And then this pedal all the way on the right here, I set up for picture in picture down here. But I've got many other cameras that I map as well at times. And I'll even do like a zoom feature every now and then. So like here, I've got a wide angle lens over there, and you can zoom in and out that way as well. Yeah. It's fun, and yes, I am a nerd. Okay. John Clee in the house. How are you, John? John is from Rochester. He's one of my amazing students, and he's actually worked with me in the past, and I hope to hire him again soon. And so John is saying, hey, Chris, rock on. Likewise. What's the difference between SPV and a SPAC? Yeah, I'm not familiar with a SPAC, but SPV means special purpose vehicle, which means instead of just having people invest in a venture capital fund, which has many investments, you can get them to invest in just one company. And that's called an SPV, a special purpose vehicle. And the fee structure is much lower on that versus a traditional venture capital firm, because a traditional venture capital firm has has a lot of diversified assets versus a one stock portfolio, which is an SPV. Next up is Angela is saying, hi, Chris. One of my friends recommended Pi digital currency. Have you ever heard of it? I don't have any thoughts on it. I'm so sorry. Yeah. But I do teach a cryptocurrency course, which is 24 hours long, that teaches you everything you need to know about how to analyze cryptocurrencies so you can decide to invest or not. Thank you. Tony is saying, my 17-year-old son, whose name is also Chris. Awesome, man. I love you, buddy. We have a lot in common. My middle child, Matthew, his middle name is Tony, or Anthony, yeah. My 17-year-old son, whose name is also Chris, is going to college in Rome for a year. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love Rome. I love Rome. And I was there, actually. I went to the Colosseum with my kids in the summer of 2018. Yeah, we did Rome. We did, yeah. We had a lot of fun there. Yeah. And I'm embarrassed to say, but I showed my kids Gladiator, even the youngest one, before we went there, because I want them to understand what the Colosseum is. Great movie. Great soundtrack, too, by Hans Zimmer as well. And then you wrote, I would like I would like to watch a special father-son movie with him. Can you kindly recommend one? Thank you. Yeah. Aside from Gladiator, which is not a good father-son movie, I guess. Let me think. Oh, The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith, hands down. Yeah, watch that with him. The Pursuit of Happiness. And it's interesting because Will Smith in that movie, his son, I think it's Jaden Smith, his son in the movie is his son in real life as well. So that's a great one, yeah. Yeah. Next up is a question from Shilpi, who's saying, hi, I viewed your Udemy course and it was fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. All right. Next up, Vasim is asking, can a technical guy, say a software engineer, run a business, or do they really need to take an MBA course? Yeah. So I think that a lot of stuff in business is not common sense, especially accounting and finance. I think that finance and accounting is like a different language, and it's the language of business. And you have to thoroughly understand it in order to start a company or to do exceptionally well working at a big company. Yeah. So what I'd recommend is, take finance courses online or accounting course online, and take mine if you want to. I've got a 30-day money-back guarantee. I've got a great course called Introduction to Finance, Accounting, Valuation, and Modeling, which I recommend checking out. But in Silicon Valley, and you mentioned you're a software engineer, which is what I am as well when I used to work at Accenture. But in Silicon Valley, in the venture capital circles, they say that it's easier to teach an engineer finance than it is to teach a finance person engineering. So your background's perfect for it. Dr. Asif is saying, good afternoon, Chris. Asif here again from across the pond in Wales, the United Kingdom. It's good to be listening to you again. Likewise, thank you. Peace be upon you, your family, your friends, and all your students. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. And peace be with you much, much more. And so when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I thank God for 10 different things in this order. And I'll show you the first 3 things right here. My kids. Andrew, Matthew, Dylan, Christine, my wife, my mom, my dad, my brother, Jamie, my sisters, Katie and Elizabeth. And I reverse these every now and then, I promise you. And number 10, my students, you, my customers. Thank you. Okay. Next up, Ramon is saying, I'm listening to your live session through my phone while washing the dishes. And I wonder why the video feed seems to go back and forth. It turns out my cat is now one of your listeners. I love it. I love it. And thanks for the emoji there. I want to get a cat so badly, man. We're trying. My wife is still not on board. We're trying. My son, Dylan, my youngest one, he even made a little PowerPoint presentation and showed Christine, the benefits of getting a cat. And then what he'll do is in the background, in the kitchen, we have a television, open concept house. What he'll do is he'll leave on YouTube, playing in the background on cute cat videos. Smart guy. It's not working yet, but we're trying. Yeah. All right. And by the way, I have a podcast as well, if you're interested. And I think it's on my website now, and it's just this call. Like a week later, what we do is it's automatically put up on podcast. So let me see if I can show you here. Let's go to my website. And I have it at the bottom, I think. Where is it here? Yeah, podcast, right at the bottom. I might be covering it up with my face here, sorry. But if you click this, you can get access to my podcast as well. And this image should load in a second. There it is, yeah. So you can get it through Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, etc. Yeah. So I've never actually clicked this. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. It's basically this call, but it's just podcasted, yeah. And I haven't really marketed that, but it's out there if you're interested, yeah. Okay. And Vasim is saying, by the way, I loved your Udemy course with the title, An Entire MBA in One Course. Thank you. I appreciate that. I can't believe how it's done. It's been unbelievable. Yeah. I think we're over 300,000 copies sold, the English version. Yeah, it's been fun. And we're making a French version as well. One of my amazing students in my MBA program named Vital. He's from Rwanda, but he lives in Stuttgart now. We're making a French version of that course, which should be out this fall. He's doing most of the talking because he speaks perfect French. My French is not so great, but I will be talking French in it. Yeah. And just do a search for European vacation, Chevy Chase talking French, and you'll see that his French is comparable with mine. Okay. Next up is Dr. Asif is saying, question, is your Silver MBA program package downloadable? Yeah. If you're using an iPhone, you might be able to download some lectures, but for the most part, it's streaming based. And so I haven't enabled downloading. Yeah. But you can watch replays. You get access to replays forever. Yeah. And you can watch it using any browser you want on any device. Your next question is, as an educator, will I be able to use some of your content concepts to guide my students? And then you wrote, obviously referencing you and your company. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And you wrote here, last question is, apologies for asking. No worries at all. Do you have any educator discount for me to be able to purchase your silver package? God bless all your sincere efforts. Yeah. So we're thank you. I appreciate it. We're not discounting, but I think the New York Post, I think, was selling the same package for $100 off. So you might want to search for a New York Post or the Financial Post in Canada and get $100 off if you want. Or just send me a LinkedIn message and I'll give you $100 off as well. Yeah. All right. And then you wrote here, I was wondering, how come you haven't set up a recruitment company for young and aspiring entrepreneurs? So I believe my purpose is to humbly help any entrepreneur or any person that works in any company to take their career to the next level. And so that's what I humbly try to do. And then Craig wrote, be excellent to each other and party on, dude. I love the Bill and Ted reference, Craig. Great to have you, Craig. And Craig, it's been a while, I think. Yeah. But I remember you had some unbelievably brilliant comments in the past. And so welcome back. Great to have you. Yeah. And then Alan is saying, hi, Chris. I aspire to teach online like yourself. Thank you. Could you tell me how you got started and how the growth curve looks like? Thanks. Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. So what I recommend, I have a couple of free courses on how to teach online based on mistakes I've made, of which there's many, because I want to help you all humbly work smarter and not harder. And so I have one course called 40 Tips on How to Make a Great Online Course, and another course called Another 40 Tips on How to Make a Great Online Course. And it's based on 40 plus 40, which is 80 mistakes I've made so you can work smarter, not harder. And I'll show you where to get them. So all you have to do is go to udemy.com. So let me go there with you. And actually, let me go into incognito mode so it doesn't recognize me. But just go to Udemy and search for Chris Haroun. Is that how you pronounce that? And then just find a way to navigate to my name on Udemy. All right, hold on a second. And then what you do is, I think it's over here. It's called, one of them is called another 40 Tips on How to Make a Great Online Course. This is 4 hours, it's free. And then I've got another course called 40 Tips, and I do it in many languages, all free, on how to make a great online course right here. So start with this one, 40 Tips, and then take the another 40 Tips one. And I think that'll help you get up and running quickly. And we all have something to teach, all of us. Everybody does. And when one teaches, two learn. And even there's this video gamer named Ninja, and he was a rock star on Twitch for a while. He makes millions of dollars playing Minecraft more recently, and also Fortnite online. And he started out teaching on Udemy on how to use Twitch, which is a video gaming streaming device owned by Amazon. And so everybody has something to teach. There's an incredible woman named Teresa Greenway, who was in an awful marriage, abusive marriage. It was terrible. And she left that bastard. And she had the strength to take her kids with her. She was living off of food stamps. And she thought to herself, what can I do to support my family that I love doing? And so Teresa, she loves to bake bread. How prophetic. And so she teaches how to bake bread on Udemy, online. And so, yeah, she's a rock star. So everybody has something to teach. Everybody does. And it's easy to get up and running. Yeah. All you need is a cell phone and a browser, which you have. And if you're wondering what cell phone quality looks like, then go to my Instagram page, which is all one word, Chris Haroun. And you can watch an Instagram live interview I had with Udemy 2 weeks ago. And I just use my iPhone for audio and for video. So as Seth Godin said, you already have everything you need to build something far bigger than yourself. Pardon me. All right, give me 1 second, guys. Next question is from Haridas, who's asking, hello, Chris. I think there may be a market crash in the near future because of all the new retail investors / traders. Do you think this may happen? If so, how can we best prepare? Yeah. So I remember I worked at a great hedge fund called Pequot years ago. And at one point, it was the largest tech hedge fund on the planet. My boss, a guy named Art Sandberg, brilliant man and a wonderful humanitarian. I remember it was 2006, and there was a private equity bubble, and real estate prices were going through the roof. And we wanted to short a Lennar, ticker LEN, and KBH Homes, ticker KBH. And we talked to him about it. And I remember, we said that valuations are egregious, lofty, and we'd like to put on a short. What do you think? Because, we're in a bubble. And he said very nicely, he said, son, I've been around long enough to understand never to stand in the way of insanity. Markets peak, markets trough, but you can't time it. You can't time it. It's too hard. It's too hard. And there's a famous quote, which is, the market can stay irrational longer than we can stay solvent. So it's really, really hard to pick market peaks or troughs and time them. And so what happens with me is I love to buy broken stocks, but not broken companies. And so whenever my favorite companies are on sale, I back up the truck. And at first it feels scary because it looks like you're catching a falling knife with respect to the stock charts. But in the long run, it's the best way to invest because, as Warren Buffett said, you need to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy if you want to do well. So that's what I recommend. That's what I recommend. Just be patient and pick your spots when everyone else is panicking. Okay. Phil is saying, hey, Chris, you can probably search books for the title "Too Strong to Grow Old." Okay, and that's your new book, right? Okay, cool. And Phil was the first student of mine to write a book using my book template, which you can all download from my website. But let me just do a quick search here. So we'll go to Amazon. Too Strong to Grow Old. Okay, here it is here. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. And it's the 40-year-old, the 40 and over beginner's guide to strength training to stay young, slow aging, burn fat, and look great. Very cool. Very cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, great. So thanks for that. I'm gonna check it out. Let me get it out of incognito mode and go here. And then as I do with all of my students, now it's not coming up here. As I do it with all of my students, I buy all my students' books, and then I profile them on the air. Okay, so for some reason, I don't know why it's actually in a different version, right? So I will buy it right now. It'll come September 4th. And then what I'll do is I will profile it here. Great. Thank you. Appreciate that. And that's Phil's other book, which I have, of course, as well, called Super Students. Very prophetic. So this was the first book any of my students wrote using my book template, which I have. Thank you. And my book template is what I use to make this book here, which is 6 by 9 inches. You can go to my website, harouneducation.com, if you want to, /writebook, all lowercase, and download the book template as well. All right, thank you. All right, next question is, what do you think about PUBG? I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Okay, and Dr. Asif is saying, Chris, I'd like to share some good news that after listening to you and getting inspired, finally I've taken the bold step and I've managed to incorporate my limited company on Monday of this week. Awesome. Awesome. And the name of your company you wrote here is ETAS, EATAS Consulting Limited. And ETAS stands for Education and Training Advisory Services. After 15 years of university teaching, I would like to experience the real world of entrepreneurship. Good for you, Dr. Asif. Awesome. Awesome. And then you wrote, I need you to advise me on how to conduct myself at this stage. I'm looking into acquiring my company domain, I mean the web address, and also looking for advice on setting up a company website. Any advice from you would be very helpful. Yeah, well, congrats, man. So what I recommend doing is, well, first of all, teach online. Take all that stuff that you've created, your curriculums over the year, and share it online on Udemy. And just take my free courses on how to teach online and get up and running because there's no reason you can't profit online. And teaching is the best business model out there, because if you're a doctor or, God forbid, a lawyer, you can only have one customer or one patient at a time. But if you're teaching, you can write once, read many, meaning put your content online and it's accessible by the whole world. And I'm humbled to say I've got students in every country, over 1 million students now, over 1 million paying students. Yeah. So take my free courses on how to teach online, please. In terms of website, so I recommend looking at, there's a company, there's a website service called WordPress. Another one is called Wix, W-I-X. Another one is called Squarespace. I use Squarespace and it's really easy. It's like using Microsoft Word, and there's lots of templates. So check out Squarespace. That's what I would say. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And you can buy, if your web address is taken, you can go to register.com and you can ask them, you can pay them to try to buy it for you, which is what I've done before. Although the dude that owns Haroun.com, I've been trying to buy it from him for about 20 years. He won't do it. He's based in Saudi Arabia. And he has a company called Haroun Multimedia. And he doesn't do much with a web address sometimes, but I tried to buy it from him. He won't sell it. I even hired a third party to approach him, pretending it wasn't me. And he said it's not for sale. So anyway. Lawrence is saying, hey, Chris, I thoroughly enjoy watching sports events like NBA and baseball games. But I have been at the spectator levels. Any suggestions on how I could get myself up to speed? Okay, yeah. To learn more about it, yeah. So the way to learn more about sports is to play video games. And what I'm going to say next to you is strange, but I'm always transparent. I interviewed at a hedge fund in New York City when I lived there. And the guy I interviewed with was a massive New York Rangers hockey fan. And I didn't know anything about that team except Mark Messier and Wayne Gretzky played there. So what I did was, on my Nintendo GameCube at the time in 2002, I bought the NHL 2K Sports video game. And I played it as the New York Rangers. And I learned everything there is to know about all the players in the team, as well as the sport in a little bit more detail. Yeah. And so that's what I recommend. Now, NBA, there's plenty of wonderful games you can get on the PS4, as well as the Switch and the Xbox to try that out. And if you don't have those consoles, you can even play NBA games on your iPhone or Android handset as well. And that's how you can learn. Or you can, if you have a PS4, play MLB The Show, or on your iPhone, iPad, or Google handset, play RBI 2020. RBI 2020 is the best version of the game they've ever made. It's unbelievable, and it's cheap as well. And it's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Next up is secondary account is asking, hi, Chris. I took your Introduction to Accounting and Finance course, and I really loved it. Thank you. I'm doing your financial analyst course, and I'm passionate about finance as I manage a small portfolio. I really want to get into portfolio management industry, but I just have a bachelor's degree in finance. What would your advice be so I can achieve this goal? Yeah. So the most important thing in business is networking. Relationships are more important than product knowledge. Your network is your net worth. And so please download my book here. Go to my website, harouneducation.com, and download my book on how to network. It's free. It's a couple hundred pages, plus several hours of YouTube videos as well. And it will tell you everything you need to know about how to network so you can get that dream job. And the earlier we realize in our careers that relationships are more important than product knowledge, the better. If you want to get anything in life, you have to ask and you have to network aggressively. But you got to be comfortable with failure as well. Because as Michael Jordan said, and I've got a poster down here I got from Etsy, I failed over and over again in my career. And that's why I succeed. And so after you read my book, you'll understand, and it's free, how to network aggressively to get anything you want. Yeah. And as Seth Godin said, you already have everything you need to build something far bigger than yourself. And just remember, the bottom line is that your network is your net worth. All right, next up, question is, what are your PC specifications? I mean, what do I have? Yeah, I'll show you. So I'm fully transparent. So I use, I have a Mac, and I'll show you here because I am a nerd. The biggest mistake I made was upgrading to Catalina, which is Apple's 64-bit operating system, which sucks because you can't play 32-bit games on it. In terms of display, I use this thing here. I got three of them up here. Storage, there's a lot of storage here because I've got actually about 15 little cards attached because I just recorded on many cameras another lesson. I also have a 240 terabyte jellyfish server by a company called LumaForge. PCI cards where I'm fully loaded here with everything. Memory, I've got 1.5 terabytes. And I believe in hiring fewer people, but having the best technology. And great technology is cheaper than hiring a lot of people as well. So anyway, that's what I use. Yeah. And so that's the main computer, which is running this Wirecast live stream. I also have a couple more laptop or computers hooked up here as well. So I'll show you. So you can see there the slider. There's right there is a monitor here. So that's the reason I can look right at you and answer questions is because I've got another computer hooked up with the pop-out screen of all the questions. I use the accessibility feature within the system settings so that the text is reversed here, so that I see white text on a black background instead of what you see, which is white text on a black background. And I do that so that the lighting is not impacted when I read questions. Otherwise, it would look like this. Watch what happens. You see? So I'm all washed out here because it's not in accessibility mode here. But here it is, mainly black text and no white. Otherwise, this here is better. Yeah. And again, it's running through a screen I've got down there. And then I've got a couple of keyboards here. This one here is my production machine, the one that I'm doing this webcast on. This one here is for the Q&A on another machine. And I've also got a third one up top, which I use to make my other lessons. Yeah. So over-engineered, maybe. Cost-effective, absolutely. Absolutely. Otherwise, you have to hire more employees. And so I always believe that small groups of people can change the world and are more effective than large groups of people. And you all know what I'm talking about because of we've all been in group meetings at school or at work, and sometimes there's too many people in the room. And when that happens, you get nothing done. So I always believe that 2 girls or 2 guys in a garage can put a 100-year-old company out of business through a startup, by leveraging technology as well. Thank you, Boosie, for that comment. Thanks. Okay. Manas is saying, hold on a second. Okay. Next question is, can you help me out? Check out Malik's Edutainment and do press on the logo. And there you'll find 5 things schools don't teach you. So do I just, is that a website? Let me go there with you. All right. So Malik's Entertainment. Malik, am I spelling that right? Yeah, I am. Yeah, I don't know where that is. I see a lot of entries here. Sorry. Yeah. So give me a little bit more detail, please. And I'd be happy to humbly help if I can. Thanks. Okay. And Christopher Maloney wrote, thank you, Chris. You're most welcome, dude. Next question is from Hugh Foster, which is, does coffee consumption affect your sleep? It does. I will never drink coffee after 1 p.m. I just can't sleep otherwise. Yeah. So this here, I nurse up until 1 p.m. And I only have 1 cup of coffee a day, which is this. And the reason why I like to have these heater-based products, which kind of suck, the battery's not that great on them, is if your coffee is heated to the right temperature, you'll drink less. And the reason is this. If your coffee gets lukewarm, at least with me, I'll finish it off and I'll go get another cup. But if it's the right temperature, you actually consume a bit less. Yeah. And it's great for me as well because my throat, because I talk a lot when I teach, it helps me not lose my throat as well. Yeah. And since COVID began, I've been drinking a lot of hot water, heated, all day long. And I do that because if I do get COVID, then hot water will obliterate it before it materializes, I guess. Yeah. And who knows? Maybe I've already had it a couple times. We just don't know. Yeah. But I think if you exercise aggressively and eat the right things, the likelihood of you getting COVID go down a lot. Or maybe you get it, but you don't really know. Yeah. All right. And then next up is, and I love it because we got King John and Saliar talking to each other in Farsi, I think. Very cool. I love my students. Lawrence is saying, hey, Chris, how do I train and improve myself to extract critical information from large volume of articles and summarize them into a few concise and accurate bullet points? Yeah. So it just comes with experience. I mean, there are some people that will teach you speed reading. I don't think you can teach speed reading. I just think that you have to be in the right frame of mind to do it, which means when your brain is fresh. So first thing in the morning, like I remember I used to get up half an hour early to study for the GMAT and other tests. And that half hour of studying in the morning was worth more than 10 hours at night. So I was always fresh and able to do it first thing. And what I do with my kids, actually, my 3 sons, which are down here by my elbow, during the summers, what I do is I make them read an hour a day. And my mom did this to me as well. And that way your brain doesn't turn to rock. But the way I set it up is I tell them, if you read within 45 minutes of waking up, you only have to read 45 minutes. Otherwise, you have to read an hour, right? And so there's an incentive system in place for them to read 45 minutes the first thing in the morning when they got up, before they got out of bed or whatever, or with breakfast. Yeah. But it just comes with practice as well. It comes with practice. Yeah. Yeah. And there's quick ways too. Like if you're reading a book or an article about an interview, skip everything except for where you see quotes, and just read, when people are quoted, that's it. That's it. Yeah. And when you write, never write more than 3 sentences in a paragraph. Otherwise, it's overwhelming for people. Yeah. Next up is Mehdi, who's saying, I'm 18 years old. I just finished high school in Italy, and I want to take a year to study artificial intelligence through online resources. After that, should I start a business right away or get some experience before? Yeah. So the best time to start is always now. And you can always start side hustles while you work for other people, if you have time, and while you're in school. You should always be starting businesses on the side. And please take my complete business plan course on Udemy, because I promise you it'll help you, because failing to plan is planning to fail. And you might need to write, and when I say you, I'm talking about to everybody, myself included. You might need to write 5 or 10 business plans before you launch a successful company. And my course, it's only $10, the complete business plan course. You get a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. Take it. I promise you, it'll help you crystallize your thought process and look at all the pros and cons from a qualitative and quantitative perspective before deciding if you should launch a company or not. Yeah. But you only have to be right in business one time. All right. All right, give me 1 second, guys. All right, next up is Ashil, who's saying, given an option for zoom lenses for a Canon EOS M50 between EF 24 to 105 millimeter and EF M55 to 200 millimeter and a 70 to 300 millimeter, which should I take? Thanks a lot. You're most welcome. So for those of you not familiar, the Canon M50 is a computer that pardon me, I was looking at another laptop there. The Canon M50 is a smaller form factor camera. It looks like a DSLR, but it's actually what's called a mirrorless camera, which just means that it's smaller and looks like a DSLR, but there's no mirror that flips up and down. It's electronic. It's got a crop sensor, which means that the resolution's not as great as you get with a bigger camera, because the brain, meaning the image sensor of the camera, is smaller. It's called an APC, a crop sensor. Now, in terms of getting the EF 24 to 105 and those other lenses you mentioned, you can't get that with that camera. You need to get an adapter first, because that camera is quite small. And so you need to buy that adapter, which costs $200, which will allow you to put bigger EF lenses on it. And then what I would do is I'd ask you, what do you want to use it for? If you want to use it for just setting up videos in the house or of you teaching, whatever it is, I think the 24 to 105 is good enough. And the 24 to 105 is great because it's wide angle enough that you can actually carry it and vlog with it. Yeah. And the other two are just two. I wouldn't get the 55 to 200 or the 70 to 300 unless you want to take pictures of objects or animals or birds, whatever it is, or your kids far, far away on a sports field. And so what I'll do is I'll show this to you very, very quickly here. And if you have follow-up questions, please let me know. So for those of you not familiar with the Canon M50, it's a smaller camera, fantastic camera actually, and it's smaller, so you can't actually put regular EF lenses on it. But what you can do is, and it's great because you see here how the screen pops out to the side. It's awesome because you can have a microphone on the top, turn the screen around, and still vlog with it. A lot of cameras have the camera popping up where the microphone is, which is moronic. This is a great camera. But you have to actually get an adapter to be able to have other lenses on it. Okay, and never buy direct from Canon. It's too expensive. Buy from Amazon. And so let me show you the lens adapter. M50 lens adapter. Here it is here. Yeah. Oh, it's cheaper here. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's $200 usually. This might be refurbished. I don't know. B&H is the best play, by the way. Best place to buy your photography equipment from. They match Amazon's pricing, and their customer service is off the charts. So this is the adapter you need to get to be able to hook up those larger lenses. But the bottom line is, I think you get the 24 to 105, which is amazing. I've got a couple of them actually, 2 of them. It's fantastic. Yeah. And I'll show you what it looks like. Hold on a second. Here it is right here. So this lens is fantastic. So this is the 24 to 105. I have a couple of these things. They're great. They're great. And so here's what it looks like. You can get an aperture of 4. That's the lowest it will go. So you get that bokeh or portrait mode type look and feel to it, sort of. And also you can zoom in it to take pictures of wildlife. This is the one I would get. This is the exact model you're talking about. This is version 1. Version 2 is on sale now, which is slightly better. And it's got what's called image stabilizing in it. So it kind of stops things from shaking if they're moving around a lot. Yeah, great lens, yeah. Let me just go put this back over here. All right. Next up, make sure my audio is okay here. You get what you pay for. And I got kind of cheap on this stand here, so hopefully that works. Okay, great. And the problem with this microphone is it's a Shure SMB microphone. It's the one that Joe Rogan uses, and Seth Rogen, I think. The problem is you got to be pretty close to it for it to work, but it's got this great deep bass to it, which I like. Yeah. All right. Next question is Pratika saying, "Do you want your course to be translated into Hindi? I can help you." Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. So I found that, and I've translated my courses into tons and tons of languages. I found that, and India is a big market of mine. It's about 11% of my revenue. But I find that my courses in India, people want to take them in English, and they just haven't done well when I've translated them into Hindi. And I'll give you an example. So if we go here to Chris Haroun, Udemy. Actually, let me go into incognito mode. Incognito mode, yeah. You'll see that I've got a course that's actually it's in Hindi, and it's been terrible. It's my fault, sales wise, I should say. So I've got a version of an entire MBA in one course right here in Hindi, and it hasn't sold at all. And I've talked to a lot of my students that are in India. I mean, the ratings are fine, but it's a small sample set, right? The issue is that a lot of my students in India, they prefer to take it in English. In English, yeah. So, but thank you. I appreciate the offer. Thank you. Okay. Next up is Mehdi is saying also 2 other questions, Chris. Is it normal to be overwhelmed with what to do at 18? Yeah. So I would say it's totally normal. I mean, it's at 18. I mean, you've got 130 years left. We're all going to make to 150. You don't have to decide right away. It's a lot of pressure. And it'll take a lot of us. It takes us several different careers until we figure out what we're passionate about. And only you know that. And don't listen to anybody else, I don't care who they are, to tell you what you can and cannot and should do with your life. Otherwise, you'll never be happy. Just figure out what your passion is. What is your raison d'être, your purpose in life? Why were you put on this planet? What do you love doing? How can you serve others and help others and enhance people's lives so that you leave this earth in a better condition than when you entered it, so to speak? It takes a lot of soul searching. And what I recommend is go on a long walk by yourself and find a park bench and make it a 10-hour walk. And I want you to write down what your perfect life is in 20 years. Everything about it. I want you to set your goals high and then much, much higher. And then after you figure out what your perfect life is in 20 years, you have a gap. And just focus on filling the gap. And if you decide what your perfect life is in 20 years and you don't know how to fill that gap, then find people that are successful and listen to or read their biographies, because that's a manuscript or a blueprint, so to speak, on how to do it. Why reinvent the wheel? Just learn from their mistakes and their successes as well. Next question is, how do I overcome the fear of losing money when starting a new business venture? Thank you so much, Chris. Yeah, you're most welcome. So what I would say is, I don't want you to use too much of your own money because I don't want you to be stressed out. I want you to use OPM, not the drug. OPM stands for other people's money. And I want you to write a business plan and take my complete business plan course, because that will help you write a business plan as well as how to create slides to be able to sell your business plan, meaning get investors to invest in your company. And if you present well enough, and we can all learn how, then I promise you, as long as you're willing to get a lot of no's, but it's like dating, eventually you get a yes. It took me a billion times to ask for, I got a yes. But if you sell yourself properly through a presentation, which I teach you in the complete business plan course, and I teach it in my MBA degree program in much more detail, then you will be able to raise money from others, high net worth investors. Don't get a loan from a bank, because banks are chicken. But you can get high net worth investors with similar background to you or similar interests to be able to invest in your company. So in addition to taking my my complete business plan course, what I recommend doing is to also read my free book on networking, which is right here. It's 6 inches by 9 inches. Download it from my website, harouneducation.com. And it'll teach you how to network aggressively to get anything you want in life and in business, because relationships are more important than product knowledge, and your network is your net worth. Okay. Next question is, hi, Chris. I've already taken your business plan course, and it's an awesome course. Thank you. The question is, how can we count the revenue average hourly rate change if my service is charged not based on the hour, but per project? Yeah. It's tough. And I know what you're going through, because I lived this when I worked in consulting. It all depends on the contract you signed. Just take the contract you signed, the amount of dollars or currency they're going to pay you, and then the number of hours that you think it's going to take you to complete that project, and that's your revenue per hour. Yeah. Okay. And Vipul is saying, good morning, Chris. Good morning, Vipul. Hope you're doing well. And Mohammed is saying, hey, Chris, what are your thoughts on equity crowdfunding? What are things to watch out for while investing in or starting an equity crowdfund? Yeah. So whenever you raise money from others or invest in other startups, you have to read and thoroughly read the legal investment offering memorandum. Don't ever invest in anything without first reading the investment memorandum or the investment document. For an IPO, it's called an S1 or an IPO prospectus. And for any other type of investment, it's generically called an investment memorandum. So make sure that you read the investment memorandum thoroughly. And if you're going to raise money yourself, please get a lawyer to do all of those documents for you, just to protect yourself and your investors as well. And it can be expensive to hire lawyers. And so what I do, and I don't get comped for ever mentioning any service, but I use LegalZoom.com, which costs me $30 or so per half hour call that I have with lawyers. Yeah. All right. And then Manas is saying it's a YouTube channel. Okay. And so Malik's Edutainment, you want me to check out your YouTube channel? Okay, sure. Yeah. All right. Hold on a second. So let's go here. Okay. All right. So Malik's Entertainment. I'm getting a bit hungry. Hold on. YouTube. Malik's Entertainment. And what you wanted me to look at your logo, I think you said? Malik's Entertainment. on YouTube. Let me go there together, and I'll do a search for you. All right. Malik's Entertainment. Yeah, I don't, there's, oh, here it is here. Malik's Edutainment. Okay, it was my fault for spelling wrong, I'm sorry. All right, you want me to look at your logo. Your logo, yeah. I don't really have any value to add, I'm sorry, on the logo. But I will subscribe, and hopefully other people will as well. Let me go to About the Channel. Malik's Edutainment is your business education channel. Okay, so it's all about edutainment. Okay, cool. The best way to predict the future is by creating it. It's now or never. I love it. I love it. You're a motivational speaker as well. I like that. It's cool. Well, I subscribed, and I'll make sure to check out your videos when they drop. And you're doing all the right things. I mean, when your titles should have numbers in it, or a lot of times, or questions. It makes it easier to want to click on it. Your thumbnails, from a branding perspective, you've got yourself. It's consistent. It's cool. Yeah, I guess I mean, I don't really have much to say, to be honest. But it looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool. 5 things they don't teach you in school. Let's check this out together.
Hi, hope all is well. College is just for having fun and to show people that you know the codes of education. If you want to learn something, if you want to learn new skill, it's for free. Quoted Elon Musk. So what are the 5 things that schools never teach you? And what are the 5 things that you and I are always deprived of during our school education and even after that? So here we go. Number 1, managing your money. Schools never teach you how to manage your own money.
You're right.
They only teach you how to manage other people's money. But the most important part is managing your own money yourself. You will have no one who is going to manage your money. Never your mother, your father, your sister, your better off. No one. The only person who can manage your money is you yourself, because you know the real worth of your money. Number 2, dating and online relationships, as well as complex relationships of real life. Schools are quite afraid of teaching you these type of things. I don't know why, but the fact is that you will always need these things in some day or the other. There will be a part in your life when you are going to come face to face with these situations, and then you act like an idiot. Same goes. Number 3, skills. The most important thing in our life is the number of skills we have, and the number of high-paying skills. The skills are going to pay us.
It's cool, man. I like your presence. I like your presence. You come across as very confident. It's cool, man. I like it. I like it. There you go. Nice job. Nice job. It's cool, man. All right, cool. And high five back at you. I saw your emoji there. Okay, cool. Next one is Edwin Valenzuela. Oh my God, what a wonderful name, dude. I love that. So my son Dylan, my youngest child, he's in the middle there by my elbow. His favorite baseball player is Edwin Encarnacion, and he has a big poster of him on his wall. And whenever Edwin hits a home run, he puts his arm out like this to run around the bases. And they call it's Ed Wing. They joke. He's got a little parrot in his arm. And your last name, Valenzuela, oh my God, it reminds me of Fernando Valenzuela, who is probably the best pitcher in 1981 in the strike shortened season in Major League Baseball. He was amazing. He's amazing. So great to have you. And I'll never forget your name now. So it's an awesome name. Perfect. All right. And you wrote here, hi, Chris. I'm currently taking your YouTube course on Udemy, and it's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I hope you join us again, because I'm always going to light up like a Christmas tree whenever I see your name. Very cool. All right. And Lawrence is saying, Chris, Walmart just announced they're teaming up with Microsoft to buy TikTok. I think this could be the best deal ever from Microsoft because ultimately it's about strengthening its cloud capability. And the partnership only enforces that goal. Any thoughts on this? Yeah. I mean, the Walmart side, I'm confused about that. Why it would make sense for Walmart to be involved with this at all. In terms of Microsoft, Microsoft doesn't have as much organic growth as it used to. So they always have to buy companies. And once you start buying companies, it's a double-edged sword. Because when you first make a big acquisition, it looks great because revenues go up a lot one year. And then the year-over-year comparisons get difficult. And so it's a double-edged sword because you have to keep acquiring other companies. They bought Mojang. Microsoft bought GitHub. Now they're buying, according to you here, according to media report you mentioned here, TikTok. And I think that M&A can work if you leave those entities to run on their own, so you don't disrupt the corporate culture and poison the politics of the company you bought. So a good example of this, Zuckerberg, and I criticize Facebook a lot, and I refuse to use it for business now, for ethical reasons. But Zuckerberg does a great job with acquisitions because when he buys companies like Instagram and to a lesser extent WhatsApp, he allows those companies to run as independent entities for a long time before incorporating it into the parent company. So, for example, with Instagram, you didn't even know it was a Facebook product until recently when they rebranded it a Facebook product. So as long as Microsoft leaves TikTok to grow on their own without completely incorporating it into the DNA subfabric of what Microsoft is, then I think they could do well with it. Otherwise, what happens is it becomes like Vine. Vine was this wonderful product. It was basically TikTok, but shorter versions, 14-second videos that Twitter bought and destroyed. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to materially strengthen the cloud capabilities, per your question, of Microsoft. I think it's just another consumer offering, for them. Yeah. It's interesting because my kids, when I ask my kids what is Microsoft, they say, "Oh yeah, that's a video game company." So the younger generation thinks of Microsoft as a gaming company and not an enterprise software company. Yeah, but I'm sure there's strategic reasons that the investment bankers pitched to Microsoft and Sequoia, et cetera, who's an investor, that kind of articulates what the synergies could possibly be for Microsoft. Now, I don't know what that is, though, to be intellectually honest. Yeah. Okay. And then Nawale wrote, "Thanks for all you do. My pleasure. Thanks for being here." And then Javier is saying, "Hi from Colombia, enjoying your webcast. I hope you're doing well. I'd love to go visit Cartagena one day. I invested in a coal company there years ago. Yeah. Right on the port." And then next up, Ashil is saying, "Thank you so much, Professor. Much clearer now." You're most welcome. And then Edwin is saying, "My question concerning YouTube is, do I need to be an expert in a particular topic to be qualified to talk about it or give advice to others? What even qualifies someone to be considered an expert?" Yeah. So I think it all comes down to your confidence in yourself. Like the Rodin sculpture, white one I have over there, it's kind of tough to see. I think, therefore I am. And the way to become a thought leader is to think like a thought leader and opine or give your opinion often. Write often, make YouTube videos often, and eventually people will think of you as a thought leader in a particular area. But you got to start somewhere. And so what I recommend doing is writing a book. And you can go to my website and download my free template for how to write a book. And so it's harouneducation.com /write book, all lowercase. And basically all of my books that I've written, including this one here, it's 6x9 format. Use that template that I mentioned. And once you write your book on whatever topic it is that you want to be a thought leader on, then what you can do is you can copy and paste chapters from your book and make different LinkedIn videos or LinkedIn posts every now and then. The same thing with YouTube. You can make your videos, each one, an excerpt from your book. So you got the content for you there, the script at least to read, or at least to think about when you create your YouTube content. Yeah. And in terms of qualification, again, it's like the Rodin sculpture. I think, therefore I am. Eventually, if you write enough and opine enough, give your opinion enough on whatever topic it is you're passionate about, then it's only a matter of time until the media and other people see you as a subject content matter expert in that area, and they start to ask you for your opinion. You just got to have the staying power to be resilient and never, ever, ever give up on your content. Just keep publishing, because if you build it, they will eventually come. Yeah. And it was tough for me. Like when I first started doing this, this weekly call, I didn't, like, there's hardly anybody on it. But I told myself, I don't care. I'm never going to stop doing this. I'm going to do this till the day I die. And the same thing with my vlogs. When I first started vlogging, I'm on day 750. I've vlogged 750 days in a row now, and I'm never going to stop. There's nobody watching them, but you just got to be resilient, because, again, if you build it, they will come. And that's a great quote from Field of Dreams, one of my favorite baseball movies. And then Buse saying, thank you for your time, Chris. You're most welcome. All right, next up we got Powell, who's saying, good evening and greetings from Poland. I just enrolled in your course and it's great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. And somebody's got to make a movie about Lech Walesa. That guy is a hero, man. He's one of the dudes that helped overthrow communism. I think it was back in the 80s. Yeah. Next up is Alexa, who's saying, hello, Chris. Hey, I'm taking your course about cryptocurrency. Is there a possibility to save videos? Yeah, I don't offer that. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you have to stream all my courses. Yeah, thank you. Okay. All right. And then next up, let's see here. A lot of people, Manas, a lot of people are saying great job on your video, and I agree as well. All right, cool. And Edwin is saying, thanks, Chris. My middle name is actually Fernando. I'm glad my name brings you joy. It's a wonderful name. I'll never forget it. Ever, ever, ever. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome, yeah. And then Rigum is saying, hey, Chris, I recently bought your course called The Entire MBA in One Course on Udemy, and it's really an awesome course. Thanks for providing us awesome content. Thank you. And thank you very much for being a customer as well. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Next up, Ramon is saying, oh, you're talking to Manas here. Okay, cool. Powell is next question is, dear Chris, do you have advice on how to make a plan for approaching a foreign market and how to start it? Yeah. So I would say that my course called the Complete Business Plan course will help you, because it makes you analyze the industry and the competitors as well as part of the business plan creation process, which involves analyzing markets, including foreign markets in general. And what I also recommend doing, though, is if you don't know much about that market, then get advisors to be on your board that understand that market well. And you can always use my networking methodology to be able to get advisors to be on your board. And you can read my book on networking, which you can download for free from my website, which is harouneducation.com. So I recommend getting advisors to help you out as well if you don't understand the cross-cultural differences of another market, for example. Yeah. All right. Lawrence is saying, thank you for sharing your thoughts on so many topics, Chris. My pleasure. And thanks for being here. And you wrote, I'm watching this from Taiwan at the moment, and it's 1:41 a.m. here. Wow, thank you. I appreciate that. And I was an investor years ago in Taiwan Semiconductor. Yeah. And I remember when I worked at Goldman Sachs, we used to look really closely at Taiwan from a PCB motherboard perspective, because we could always understand what demand from a supply chain perspective was going to be for personal computers based on products that were sold motherboard-wise through Taiwan. Yeah, thank you. Next up is Powell, who's asking. Hold on a second, guys. Next question is Powell, who's asking, do you think you need to be the best expert in technology you're trying to make business from? Thank you. I am just starting in business, and you've become my mentor. Thank you. God bless you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So I don't think you have, you got to start somewhere. But I don't, if you're making a technology product, if you don't have the skills to make that product, you can easily learn them online. You can go to Udemy's website and take courses from Rob Percival or from Angela Yu. And anybody can learn how to code. That's what I would say. But what I will say is you have to enjoy it. You got to thoroughly enjoy technology in order to thrive in that market. And the tech sector is different from other sectors because I kind of feel like it's the only sector where you have many employees who are incredibly passionate about what they're doing. They love it. They don't see work as a job, they see it as a passion. And that's why you've seen such revolutionary change in technology markets over the past couple of decades, because you have millions of people working in that sector that absolutely love what they're doing. They eat, sleep, and they breathe it. And so in order for you to do exceptionally well in the technology sector, you have to have a thirst for knowledge, be willing to improve yourself often by taking online courses, and be incredibly passionate about it. Okay, next question is, and give me 1 second here. I'm going to get my phone just because I don't want to go overtime here. Yeah. Okay, next question is, what do you think of the future of gaming? Yeah. So I think that obviously online is going to have a big component to it. It always will. But I think it's going to be some form of augmented reality, not just virtual reality. I find that VR, and I've tried all the major VR products out, Oculus, etc. I find that VR, you get dizzy, right? Same thing with 3D movies. I personally get dizzy. So I think that what's going to happen is augmented reality is going to be the future of gaming. And so Microsoft purchased Mojang, which is the parent company of Minecraft, which my kids love. And Microsoft also has the HoloLens, which is their augmented reality or VR product. And they've shown some demos as early as 2013. I wrote about this in Wired magazine. I was a guest writer, and in VentureBeat as well. They showed demos of you wearing a HoloLens and you're in your kitchen, and you can build Minecraft castles and buildings on your counter, on your fridge, on the ceiling, whatever it is, hanging down. And I think that's the future of gaming. I think it's immersive, but part of it is virtual, part of it is not. Part of it is actually you looking around your surroundings. And I think maybe a combination of that and like what you saw with Pokemon Go, where there's a social aspect to it, where people kind of move around to be able to work together to solve complex video game based problems. It's fun. So I think augmented reality is the future of gaming. And I've dipped my toe into it, and I'm experimenting with it right now. And I'm experimenting with a lot of Nintendo products as well, just for my MBA degree program. And I'm trying to teach by using video games. And I don't want to say too much, because for my platinum and gold students on Monday, this is the case study we're going to be doing, and it's a radically new way to teach, and I hope you guys all love it. Yeah. Okay. And you're most welcome, Manas. Okay, NMS saying, hey, Chris, do you have advice for how a college freshman can secure internships right now? Yeah. So what I would say is you have to set up a large number of informational meetings. And it's hard, especially in this environment. But if you network aggressively and you set up networking meetings, and this is a free book, you can go to my website, harouneducation.com, and download this on how to network. But if you set up enough informational meetings using my methodology, then you will get an internship. You just have to make sure you ask at the end of these informational meetings. And so the way to get these meetings, and I articulate this in this book in more detail, is on LinkedIn, you find people with at least two things in common with you. So you find executives that are maybe from the same hometown as you, and maybe they went to the same school as you, or they're part of the same organization, wherever that might be. And you send them a quick in-mail. And I say in-mail because everybody in this call, every in-mail you've received on LinkedIn, you've opened. I know you have. But every email you get, you certainly don't open. So you send an in-mail. You do an advanced search and find people with something in common with you. Maybe somebody went to the same school and is from the same hometown as you. And you send a short in-mail as follows. Subject line is 2 letters, hi. Everybody opens those. The contents of the message are, for example, John, hope all is well. I'm also from Mississauga. That's where I'm from. And I also went to the Toronto French School. That's where I went. Please let me, and I'm going to be here in the Bay Area for the next couple of weeks. Please let me know if you have time for a coffee or a quick Zoom meeting. Thanks, Chris. That's it. And you'll find a lot of people will answer. And even if they don't, if you send out 20 of these and you get one response, that's pretty damn good. And during these meetings, just bond with them, talk about what you have in common. Go to their Twitter profile before the meeting and find out who they follow. So you can talk about sports or something that you both have in common, something you're both passionate about. And after a while during the meeting, they will very politely say, why are we meeting? And then just say, well, I'm interested in pursuing a career in your industry. And then you'll talk about that for a while. And then you got to ask. Okay. One of the big problems with salespeople, rookie salespeople, is they go to meetings with a potential customer and they don't ask for the sale. You got to ask. So at the end of that meeting, you got to say, thank you so much for your time. I enjoyed our conversation and I'm eternally grateful. Please let me know if you have any free internship positions available in your company. And if they do have one, it won't be free. They'll usually pay you anyway. And if they say no, then say, well, do you know anybody else that's also from our hometown that you could potentially please introduce me to that might be hiring for an internship? Do that over and over and over again. Rinse, lather, repeat until you got your internship. You only have to be right in business one time, and you only have to get one person to say yes to an internship. So it's like dating. It's a lot of numbers. You got to keep asking over and over and over and over again. You got to be relentless like a pit bull on a pork chop and never give up. Again, rinse, lather, repeat until you get a yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then Alexa wrote, thank you, Chris. That's a brilliant course, and I highly recommend it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Himanshu in the house. How are you? Dude, it's been a couple of months, man. I hope you're doing well. And I smile whenever I see your name because I mentored a guy when I worked at Accenture. He was from Russia, but his name was Himanshu as well. A really nice guy. Yeah. Good to see you. Next up is Ramon, who's saying, would there be any legal consequences on teaching a textbook online? Like Udemy, YouTube, etc. So I would, if it's somebody else's work, I would get their permission first. Yeah. Always get their permission. Yeah. And if you're ever not sure if something is legit or not, hire a lawyer or go to LegalZoom.com and pay $15 for a one-time personal call or $30 for a business call. Yeah. Better safe than sorry. Yeah. All right. But you can do, like, people do cease and desist. Like, I do it a lot. If people copy my courses onto YouTube or something, what I'll do is I'll flag it for copyright reasons, and then they take it down. They take it down. And I've got a boilerplate email I use as well. Yeah, you have to protect your IP. Yeah. Okay. Next up, I'm thinking of a future Grand Theft Auto game for my book in which you can actually choose what kind of role you're going to play, and then the artificial intelligence will create a game for us while we play by observing how we are. Very cool. And that kind of reminds me of when I was a kid, I used to read these books called Choose Your Own Adventure. And what you do is you read a chapter, and at the end of the chapter, it'll say, if you want to go down this path, go to page whatever. Or if you want to go down this path, go to page whatever. So you choose your own adventure. It's pretty cool. And I guess what you're saying is kind of like creating your own avatar and putting it in a game. And so Rockstar Games, which is the studio that makes Grand Theft Auto, which is owned by Take-Two, ticker TTWO, what they do is they kind of allow you to have your own avatar and your own persona when you play Grand Theft Auto 5 online. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. But I don't think they have an AI component, though. But one of my kids showed me the other day, he bought a DeLorean with, I guess, GTA bucks or whatever you call it. And he flies through Vinewood or whatever it's called. I don't even know what it's called. Yeah, that level in GTA, which is fun. Yeah, it's awesome. What a great game. And I can't believe that game came out in 2013 or so, man. Or 12 or whatever it was. I mean, the staying power is unbelievable. It's incredible. And I've seen mods or modifications of that game on a personal computer. And it looks like real life, except for the faces. But the cars and the city looks like real life. It's unbelievable. That's a reason alone to get a gaming PC. Yeah. Or a PS5 when it comes out. Yeah. Okay, and Desu is next. Desu is saying, hey, Chris, I hope you're doing well. Likewise. I joined late to the stream, but gave out my question last night. I'm unable to find it in the chat, however, so I'm just repeating it in case I miss it. Yeah, so if you enter in questions more than 2 or 3 hours before the call starts, I never see them. If for some reason, YouTube deletes them. So always enter it in within an hour or so, or 2 hours of the call starting, or during the call. Yeah, thanks. All right. So, and you wrote your question here. What is your advice to a 21-year-old going to start his career in the IT industry just after graduation? So what I would say is when you're younger and you're in school, if you get good grades, you know, life works out well. Your parents are proud of you. And more importantly, you're proud of yourself. And then what happens is you start working in a company and you keep your head down and you look around and you notice that other people are getting promoted and raises faster than you. And the quality of their work is not as good as yours. And you wonder, why is this happening to me? I don't get it. And the reason is because if you want to get promoted or a raise, you have to ask. If you want to get anything in life, you have to ask. And no one's ever made CEO without asking over and over and over again. And there's a tactful way to do it as well. But what I want you to do, and I'll get to the tactful way in a second. What I want you to do is, do you remember when you were in school and the first 2 weeks of school, you met a lot of people and those are your friends for life? And then it was a bit harder to make friends after that? Well, when you join a company, the first 2 weeks is kind of like that. You got to network a lot and meet a lot of people. And you're the new kid in town and people want to help you if you ask. So I want you to network a lot and find mentors and sit down with a lot of people and get to know them. Ask them for coffee every now and then as well. Because every corporate culture is different. You know, the critical success factors on how to get a promotion or a raise are different in all companies. And so you want to have mentors that are going to help you out. And make sure you get multiple mentors or multiple Yodas to help you out. Now, in terms of how to ask for a raise or a promotion, the best way to do it is every 3 months. What I want you to do is I want you to sit down with your boss. And I want you to ask him or her for feedback. In that meeting, you start off, if it's sincerely true, with, you know, I'm really happy to be here. And as a team, we've accomplished a lot together. And I'd love to contribute much, much more. And I'd love to ask you, please, for your advice on what do I need to do in order to make it to the next level, meaning get a promotion. And they'll tell you. They'll tell you. And then what you do is, after you fulfilled all that criteria, set up another meeting with them and start off the meeting by talking about how much you enjoy being part of the team, if it's true, and how we as a team have accomplished a lot together. And then you can say something like this, if true. It's really expensive raising a family here in the Bay Area, for example. And I remember the last time we met, you gave me advice on what criteria I need to meet in order to get promoted to the next level. And thank you so much for that. I fulfilled the criteria, and I want to be able to also provide the best standard of living I possibly can for my family. And as a result, I'd love to please ask you humbly for a promotion or a raise. Yeah. And do these meetings every 3 months, like feedback meetings, where you ask, how am I doing? And if you do that often enough, then, when there's a round of layoffs, the probability of you getting let go goes down a lot, or at least getting surprised about being let go goes down a lot, because you're asking for feedback. Yeah. Then you wrote here, thanks for your great help to community and wish to hear from you always. Thank you. Appreciate it. And you wrote, have a great day. Likewise, have a great day as well. Thank you. Okay. Next up, NMS is saying, that was amazing advice. I really appreciate it, Chris. You're most welcome. Thank you. All right. And then we don't have that much time left. Actually, we're supposed to wrap up the call right now. It's a 3-hour call, but because I got to do my MBA students office hours for my platinum students. Yeah. But I'll go through this quickly. And if I don't answer your question, just please post them again next week. Yeah, there's my alarm. All right, hold on a second. All right. So Ishwar wrote, hey, Chris, I'm currently undergoing the training of your business plan course on Udemy. Thank you for giving so much clarity. My pleasure. And thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, great. And then next up, I'm excited for your MBA degree program, and I'm having a one-on-one meeting with you. Yeah. Thank you. No, I appreciate it. It's been fun. Yeah. And the next program starts this December. And for those of you that are interested, just go to harouneducation.com and you can apply there. And then we'll send out acceptance letters within the next month or two. I think in September we send out acceptance letters to those that applied for early admission. Yeah. And for deadline dates, just go to my website, harouneducation.com, and I have all the dates listed there. Yeah. All right. And Marcus is saying, hey, Chris, I trust all is well. Likewise. Thank you. I'm a recent MBA graduate, and I just started working at a venture capital firm as an analyst. And then you wrote here, I have no background in venture capital, but I want to know the best way to fast track my learning. Yeah. So I would say don't join a venture capital firm ever until you've started at least one company. And the reason is that if you do, you won't be able to progress to partner in a venture capital firm. And the reason is that when you make partner at a venture capital firm, and I've been a partner in them before, what happens is you make partner because you know how to start a company. And when you try to invest in other companies' startups, the entrepreneur might not want you to invest if you don't have work experience starting companies. And the reason is because when you invest in companies, when you work in VC, you sit on their boards. And you sit on their boards and you go to quarterly shareholder meetings or board meetings. And during those meetings, you're supposed to give advice based on your experience starting companies. And so if you don't have much experience starting companies, it's harder to win venture capital deals. So what I would do is start at least a couple companies first, and then later on in your career, consider working in venture capital. Yeah, I wouldn't do VC in your 20s. I'd wait until later, always, yeah. All right, great. And I know there's a bunch more questions. I'm so sorry. I have to actually wrap it up. So I want to thank you all for your time. Within 24 hours, Hisham, who's one of my wonderful employees and a former student of mine from San Francisco State, great dude. What Hisham will do is he will write up all the questions and put it in the description field. So what you can do is go to the description field of this video and click to get immediate access to all the questions. Yeah. And so if you subscribe to my vlog, I will see you today, tomorrow, every day, because I vlog daily. If not, if you're one of my MBA degree students in my platinum program, I'll see you in office hours in a couple of minutes. Otherwise, I'll see all of you next Thursday and every Thursday at 8 a.m. Thank you very much for your time. And God bless you and have a wonderful weekend. Thanks.